Mel's here.
Hello, this should work. Hopefully you can hear us. There should be some music playing. Drinking time. Might be a bit loud, we'll see. Can you hear? Right, there we go. Hello,
Mel, you're here!
Hey. Oh, Mel, you should have seen it on Saturday. It was an absolute disaster. I had no mods. I was hitting exclamation mark, every word going, none of it. No, I went through the dictionary 6 times. It was horrendous. Right, welcome to the channel. It's Monday, it's absolutely scorching. I can't be arsed playing D&D. So, Ree is away because it's too hot in her room, bless her. We thought Eddie was away, but he lied to us and turned up anyway. T-shirt, Eddie. You put a T-shirt on it.
Oh yeah, T-shirt. We didn't all scream that this time. Oh.
Right, so tonight we are going to do a bit of a Q&A. Serves you right for 1 a.m. I mean, I'll give you that. We're going to do a Q&A for this lot. So we normally do them when we've been playing for several amounts of sessions and some plot stuff's happened. Get a feeling of what you guys are enjoying about the campaign so far. If you've got any questions for the characters or for myself. If the players have got any questions for each other or myself and vice versa and stuff like that, well, it'll be cool. It'll be like a session 0 after 19 sessions. So it should be cool. So go through the stuff first. Saturday night we did our first session of Walking Dreams, which is the new, very short, I hope, adventure/campaign that we're running for Ashana and her adventurers. They are in Portabia, also in Colossus. That was very cool. You can see it on the Twitch VOD, and it'll be up on YouTube soon. Thanks to Uli for tipping up, and there was a couple of us there that also tipped up, so that was very nice. Katie, bless her. Just dived in, said hello, shouted my real name and address, firstborn child's name all over the internet, and then left. She did. I've just said that to wind her up, because I like doing it. Hey, Biggie! Just in case. There's a reroll to change one of their answers. So, quick social media stuff. If you want to find us on Instagram or Twitter or the other one, Facebook, you can. It's basically me telling everyone about when we're going live, what we're playing, what we're writing about, what we're putting together, and all the good stuff. So go check that out if you fancy it. If you want to come and join us on Discord, please do. We'll talk some nerdy stuff with you. If you want to go listen to hundreds of hours or watch hundreds of hours, you've got a YouTube, look for Heavyweight, and you can have a look. If you want to listen, go to Spotify or Anchor and look for Heavyweight RPG, When Glory Is Not Enough, Heavyweight RPG, Fables Among Titans, Dice of the Older, Chronicles of Needham, and you'll get 3 D&D campaigns. Dice of the Older is Dungeon Mastered by Rich, aka Bjorn, and you'll get their 80 plus sessions of what they've been up to for the last couple of years. And then you've got When Glory's Not Enough for this lot and Fables for the Tuesday lot. So go check them out. If you want to buy some source material, go to Dungeon Masters Guild and you can find Tasha's Heavy, a crockpot of bits and bobs, and Frank and Kenzie's Traders Compendium. They're both brilliant source books with spells, subclasses, great artwork from a bunch of nerds that we've all... That's the older, damn it. Go check them out. They're really cool source material for those that like their 5e stuff and homebrew stuff, and it's a nice little thank you to people that have supported us along the way, so that's cool. I went through stuff pretty fast. Sponsors! Surenscape. If you like music in your games, go check them out. They're absolutely brilliant. They are an official sponsor of the channel and amazing. We love them, and I use them for high fantasy, for cyberpunk, sci-fi. They're really good at what they do. Please go check them out. If you're playing around the table, you can play it out on an electronic device. If you are playing online, you can get a web player app, download it, and everyone can hear it. Coyote Grey, Chibi tokens. They're amazing. I love them. Go to Roll20's marketplace, type in Coyote Grey, and you'll see over 1,000 Chibi tokens that he's put up there. They're amazing. I own them all and will buy every single thing he puts up there because I love them. So thank you to Coyote Grey for sponsoring. Loki Battle Mats. If you like battle maps in your RPG games, whether it be sci-fi, cyberpunk, high fantasy, and you want them A3 size that you can just put out on the table and have a tundra, a mountain, a forest, a dungeon, a sewers, magic ritual circles, then go check out their big book of maps and a giant book of maps and stuff like this. They've done towns and taverns, castles and caverns, and all sorts of stuff. Please go check them out. Send them a lot of love. They are amazing. They also do digital versions of everything they do. So yeah, if you play on like Roll20, Foundry, Virtual Tabletop, stuff like this. What's the other one? Fantasy Grounds. Go check them out. They are amazing. And hopefully we'll get Mel spamming the chat throughout of other wonderful people that contribute to the channel, like Sawdust and Swear Words, Rough X Creative, Baddick Inspiration, Blink Dog Dice, 2 Minute Tabletop, some other stuff, Sawdust and Swear Words, and we'll get Mel putting them all up there. But yes, so you lot have never done this before, well, not at least on this channel. I don't know if you've been part of these Q&As before in your other geeky worlds, but basically we open it up to yourselves to ask one another. Go on, Faze.
I was just, not Faze yet. I was just going to say, do you mind if I drop a link into the chat? Loki Battle Mats are up for an any award, and if anyone wants to go and vote, they can.
Go for it. You're a mod, you should be able to do it.
Yes.
I know, I was just checking.
They're up for Best Supplement of 2022 as part of their Kickstarter. It's one of the new books.
Brilliant.
And it's the bottom one on the list, just so you know. The bottom one is Loki, because it doesn't say.
Random Encounters one is fantastic. So yes, please put them first, and then the other 4, put whatever numbers you want. But remember, number 1 is the Loki Battle Mats.
But only if you wish to vote for them. If not, get off the channel.
Find you.
We will find you. So basically you lot will get to ask each other questions about each other's characters. You get to ask me about anything you want regarding the last 19 sessions, and also chat if you want to know about player inspiration for their characters, their classes, what they think's going on, what do they think of moments throughout so far, or you've got questions for myself. Please throw them in there. We'll try to get through them all. We will go as long as people are wanting to ask questions and answer them, as long as it ends today. But yes, so if any of you have a question, chat or player, forever hold your peace now. Speak. We've got Hannah with us tonight instead of Disney Princess, so you'll have to, Anyone got any questions for each other?
Nice. Too hot to wear a filter.
I do. I do have a question.
Is it for
Eddie? Are you the BBEG?
I feel like Velk, and that is all.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just Velk. Just the narrator, one might say.
All right. That didn't answer anything.
Exactly.
I said who I am.
The real answer to that is you'll find out. There is 2 questions from Bardic. Being as this is your first one, what inspired you to come up with your characters, and how much input did you have from me? So, Etheria, we'll go with you first because that's on my screen.
Okay. Basically, when Eddie was asking us where we want to play and all that stuff, and telling us of different lands and stuff, he told us about various places, and he told me about there. And I love all the old samurai stuff. I used to watch martial arts films and all that stuff. I'm really obsessed with any of that. And the training Kabuto. So I wanted to go with there as a Japanese character. I've never played a Dragonborn, and I tried to play a different character each time.
Tony, your mic's doing that thing again, my love.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's loud. That's good.
Yeah, so every time I play a different campaign, I try to play a different character, or a different race and a different class. So I've been a Goblin Paladin, I've been these are obviously in other people's campaigns and stuff, but I've been a Goblin Paladin, I've been a Tiefling Artificer, and in the 24-hour one-shot I was a Fairy Barbarian, so I've just picked Dragonborn and Sorcerer. But like I said, I love the samurai stuff, so that's why I went with Vea as well, and that's why Etheria is kind of better in that way, as much as it possibly doesn't suit a sorcerer that much.
Yeah.
Nice one. Unless you've got more, Etheria?
No, that's it, yeah.
What inspired you, Beyond? Was it SpongeBob SquarePants?
Hat-trick.
No, I wanted to be... Well, I played a Hexblade Warlock for the first time in a campaign that was run by Greg from my channel, or from my campaign. And he only did a couple of sessions in it, but I really, really enjoyed it. And for some reason, he picked up on this, as he does. So 2 years later, every time I'm going to pick a new character, he says, "Oh, is it going to be Hexblade Warlock?" As if that's all I play, when I have in fact only ever played one. it's not a lie, Amelia. I have made one Hexblade Warlock character. Just because every single enemy NPC happens to be a Hexblade Warlock in the entire campaign. All of the elves are in fact Hexblade Warlocks. No, so I just wanted to play one. I asked AD if there was a kind of maybe slightly Viking-inspired race. AD sent me a lot of stuff. Like, I think this is what you're looking for. I was like, cool. And then he said, where do you want your Hexblade to be from, by the way? Here are some the Viconian Celestials, the Vendari. And before, I think, 5 seconds after he'd sent them to me, I went, that one. And he went, you mean Costo, don't you? Yeah, I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah, I told Becky that you would choose that one before I'd even sent it to you.
Yeah. So yeah, I picked Costo because it just worked. But mainly I just, because obviously as the hashtag Forever DM, I just wanted to play the button pusher. Well, I told AD before we started, I wanted to play a guy who was like, yeah, I am absolutely interested in finding out what's in every single nook and cranny. What's this chain? I don't know what.
Testing his limits.
Toilet.
Testing his limits.
Mm. Yeah, but
He's just testing. He's just testing. That's what it is.
You say it's obvious that it's a toilet, right? They don't
have them in Vicon.
We haven't lived with indoor plumbing. Jesus Christ. I have no idea what this could possibly be. So yeah, I just wanted to play a character who, if AD puts it in front of us, I want to find out more about it.
You remind me of Kronk from Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
I'll take it.
I was going to say actually Dee from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's closer. That is far.
What does this button do?
Knowing full well what it will do, but still doing it anyway.
So Velk, you're up next.
So, in terms of characters, I typically play a lot of more like roguish characters. I'd say that tends to be a bit more my flavour. That are a bit more, a little bit more like aggressively involved in things. Is how I'd probably put it. Not like proactively. Yeah. Like I push things a lot. Proactively is probably a nicer word.
I'll do the sales pitch, man.
So, with that side of things, and kind of, I guess, bouncing off AD a bit as well, I kind of wanted to play a character that was more like supporty, being a
passively
of things, that was like not there to proactively steal the show or anything like that. So, I mean, some of you might have seen Tales of Wonder, for example. So I went with that kind of more, like I wanted to play that supporty, more pushing other elements, but still be kind of interesting, not just there to go like, healing spell or
follow me.
Yeah. So from that, like I kind of took that concept and then played around a bit with some of the stuff like I'm interested in, kind of like the so looking at the lore bard, which is the one I kind of went down because it's like your stereotypical support class. I was like, there's definitely another way to spin that than just like being kind of stereotypical. Then
Gravy time.
So you've probably all seen that I went the changing route now. Spoilers. So that adds a little bit of flavour, means I can mix things up a little bit, keep it interesting, and kind of just bounce off a lot of other people or these guys' kind of stories, as it were, while still having that underlying like interesting piece as well. In terms of like how much I think I wrote like 4 or 5 pages of backstory or something like that. It's just from the kind of ideas we want, family, all that sort of stuff. But I typically do that anyway, just for like one shots and everything.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah,
barbarians have got family trees.
so there's obviously a lot more still to come with Oak, but it's cool from my perspective being able to sit back a little bit but still be integral, as it were. Yeah.
Right. Lovely. We're done with you now. Fizz, what inspired you to come up with your character?
Thought it'd be cool.
What, playing a psycho?
Yeah. Well, so I played quite a lot of clerics previously. I played a cleric in AD's first 24-hour one-shot. It was the first one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The one when no one could hear us because the microphones were sketchy. Yeah. Faye? Yeah, she was my first one. My biggest main character ever was a very sweet, nice, happy little cleric who wanted to have a happy life, and I made her miserable. So I wanted to try a cleric but do something a little bit different with it and not be so happy-clappy all the time. So I loved the idea of trying to put a Warforged and a different race together. There's no reason why not, really. So I said to AD, this is acceptable. So I said to AD that I'd really like to do this and have sort of this tragic history for her. And AD thought it sounded like quite a fun idea. So we put it together and fleshed it all out together because I needed a lot of help. I don't know Colossus that well. Still don't know Colossus that well. I'm learning.
I don't know it that well. I just make it up and then write it in after.
Yes. Still sending messages occasionally going, I don't know where I live.
Yeah.
And you got me who like bookmarked her backstory.
Yeah, all right. Some people are just better, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to play something a little bit different with a bit more emotional depth to it by making her have no emotions.
Yeah. Right.
Still having very strong emotions.
Yeah, that's the
They're
whole
just
point.
really intense.
Yeah.
What about you, Raya?
I you know, typically it's like I'm still relatively new to D&D, and so everyone kind of anticipates that I'm always just going to pick a rogue because that was my first ever character, and then my second character, and third character.
I mean, good choice.
But it's us, it's our anticipation.
So I was like, okay, well, I've played a warlock rogue in one shot. Can't remember what I played for another thing. I think it was probably just a rogue. And I was like, do you know what? Let's go spellcaster. Let's stop stabbing things as much, and not being stealthy when I'm supposed to be stealthy. And let's try a druid instead. And you know, I picked the easiest one, but of going Circle of the Moon with picking Dark Fae or Unseelie. I just thought it was really cool because it reminded me of Maleficent, and I love Maleficent. Backstory input, I didn't give a lot. It's very much, if you've ever watched Tangled from Disney, very much like Rapunzel, where it's like, oh my god, it's a whole new shiny world. Oh no, it's a whole new shiny world. I'm gonna possibly die. And having that kind of panic there. But it's I personally just think that it's really nice to not actually just have a tragic backstory for once. Because usually when I play D&D, the first thing I say is just give me trauma. As if any of you were there for the 24-hour one-shot last year.
They were so happy.
We had people in the chat going, is Hannah okay? Like, this seems like really deep, and I'm just there like sobbing.
If you give me ammo, I will shoot you.
Absolutely. And so I thought, actually, do you know what, why not go a little bit easy breezy? So I obviously, you know, gave my little bit of backstory, which was incredibly short, but enough to kind of go play with whatever. Like, you know, Raya's never been outside of her forest village, essentially. So I don't really have to play the amnesia card or anything like that, because it's literally, I just don't know. Hence all of like the colloquialisms of going, man, about a dog. Did you get the dog? Because that's going to save us a whole load of trouble. and stuff like that. So I just thought it would be a more interesting take on things for me to not be
A rogue.
edgelord,
Yeah.
like, you know, spicy, angsty sort of thing, and go for something that's just a little bit more stupid. So whenever you do see Freya, just like, I'm just vibing. It's literally
Just vibing.
because she is just like, yeah, I'm just here, just cause, like, this is fun. Like, she has no plan. It's that she's met FaZe and gone, you seem like a decent person, I'll stick with you. And then obviously met all the rest of the misfits and going, okay, maybe they're not bad, but we'll see.
They're not a plan either.
I have a little head in a bag to fruit with.
Yeah, but your FaZe is different. It's different.
I can't.
It's different when it's
I
FaZe.
can't half answer for Althea/Reed. She went, I want to be a fighter. And I was like, okay. I want to be a gladiator fighter. All right. I want to be an arena gladiator fighter. All right, Reed. I want to be in the biggest arena gladiator fighter. And that's it. I was like, we can work with that. We can work with that.
I want to be the fightiest fighter that ever did fight.
Yes, fightiness. I got another question from Uli. Does Eddie have any more personas ready? I assume for Velk.
I thought that was going to be the answer.
Smile. You're not Velk right now.
Yes. There are a few written out. I say written out. I've got them. They've all got backstories.
5 pages each.
You think I'm joking?
I don't. That's the thing.
We're releasing the first trilogy of Velk next year.
Yeah, there's definitely more to come on that front.
You've basically found the perfect way. That, you know, those players you always get one player who gets itchy. They're playing their character, they suddenly have an amazing idea for their next character, and they're like, "Oh crap! I want this guy to die so I can bring in a new one." You've found the perfect way around it, because you can just be them all.
He cheated. He
I
literally
did
cheated.
cheat.
Well, you said we had no barriers on what we could do.
This is true.
So this is actually all on you.
But I also said that before Eddie were part of the party. So
It's the ultimate support though, because it means I get to be the right character for the right situation.
quick, we need a paladin. I'm on my
that
way.
answers the next question that Uli has of when are they likely to show up?
Throughout
You're not gonna get
the
that
campaign,
answer.
Uli, is all you need to know.
At some point
During the campaign.
during the campaign, we shall
When
see.
they're needed.
See. That is it. They always turn up when they're needed.
Do you lot have any questions for each other? Not myself.
I had one for Eddie from what he was saying about wanting to be as more support carrier and step back and stuff. Do you find it hard to step back and let us be complete incompetents?
Testing.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Eddie.
All about
lie.
honesty
Don't lie.
here. It's a
You're
safe
under
space.
oath here, man.
I've just oh, what's that on the internet's gone? Just to be fair, it in a way, like, it's kind of interesting because, like, I'm very much, like, believe it or not, a very logical person. Like, I will.
With
I
no
will-
evidence of this. Eyewitnesses.
So when I'm looking at things, like, I'm looking at you guys, and I try to figure out how you guys will react as well, and then kind of preemptively figure out in my head so I can keep it, like, I can support in different areas, that sort of stuff. So it still keeps it interesting for me. Like, I kind of just tailor what I'm doing that way rather than get frustrated when I'm like, just pull the lever. so like, that's how I keep myself, occupied, as it were.
Do you almost feel like the DM without being the DM?
Like, it's kind of an interesting one, isn't it, with the whole narration side of things, because I have to think of a lot of how I would word things. So, like, you might see me kind of almost stumbling over my words or things like that, because I'm trying to be like, how do I word it as though I'm telling the story, but still helping you guys and, like, knowing
Still
how you're
wanting them to
so-
pick up the magic sword.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's like a huge amount for me to it that, like, I have to sit there and obviously, like, focus on you guys a bit, and then figure out how I'm going to run it. So it's interesting. It's interesting. It's nice to kind of like play out, as it were. Yeah.
Rich, you got a question for Eddie?
I don't know. Is it just questions for Eddie? Is that what it is?
This is no longer a Q&A. It's just ask Eddie.
Well, that's what they go on.
I was going to say I completely agree with what Eddie said, but as do you feel like a little bit like a DM? Coming from someone who's just been a DM for like 5 years straight, and it's like now playing. I'm looking at everyone a little bit, going, do that bit, do that bit, do that bit. But Bjorn is like, oh, butterfly.
You're gonna try and eat it.
Yeah, gonna try and eat it, or maybe watch it beat itself to death. But
a butterfly beating itself to death is very poetic.
Yeah.
It might have been less graphic.
Yeah, one headbutt bang.
You have a couple of questions, Eddie, as to which one is what cool moments have stood out to you
As players
and to DM.
Yeah. What, you want me to answer first?
Yeah.
You can answer first, yeah.
Sketch.
Oh, sketch.
Sketch, man.
The rats beating itself to death. Just the whole scene of the innocence of... It was like, I mean, if you ever looked after a child for a brief period of time, and they are so convinced with their response to your angry question of, what are you doing? Like, what has happened? How has that got broken? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just walked past and it fell over and broke. And they are convinced that that's, and hearing Bjorn be like, it beat itself to death. Like, while the party are just staring at him like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, that was ridiculous. The Raya giving the platinum away. That was only a couple of sessions ago. The 4 platinum were like, oh, you like these? Yeah, I've got 4. Just giving them to Capable. Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's kind of cheaty, but the reactions of you lot when you, out of character, know something from other games, like Aronel turning up, or like obviously Rich has seen a few of the Tuesday stuff. So if any of that, like Gabriel turning up or Akiko, like there are moments.
Oh
there.
no! When you had me have a conversation with Wolfbearer.
Oh, Wolfbearer, yeah.
And he introduced himself and gave his name, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a pretty cool name that I've never heard before
Never
ever in my life."
Yeah. Even Mel's in the chat going, Wolfbearer!
The Velk again's pretty cool because obviously me and Eddie are, some say the same person now and then, but it's cool to see Eddie having to play this way or chosen to play this way, so that's cool. The anime stuff from Etheria, like the lightning serpent you fought in the tavern, the whole blink and slash, that was cool. That was quite cool. Shauna, that was cool.
And the fact that all of us know that Shauna was a fluke.
Yeah.
There was no Shauna until that minute, and he just went, perfect.
I've got her now. So yeah, that was cool. Roulette. I mean, I get that you're a button pusher, but even session 0 was. I mean, my favourite session 0 was Tony and Rich. One day we'll go through it all, but it was like a level 1 to 20 campaign in 3 hours. Like it was
amazing.
It was absolutely. They fought demons. They had puzzles going on. There was a dragon tail. They were on a ship. They were drowning.
I have a nemesis. I have a full-on nemesis. He's that pirate captain. I will fucking find him one day. I will get my 10 gold back.
5 sessions or something.
Oh, Session 0 was ridiculous.
Honestly,
we both nearly died.
Twice.
And Bjorn lost 4 points of constitution.
Yeah.
The fact that you started on deficit of exhaustion.
I had a real simple, like in my head, they go along, they fight a pirate, they give some gold to a dragon turtle, boom, off they go. No, they resisted everything they possibly could along the way, whether by on purpose or accident, it just would not go right. But yeah, session 0 with your tools.
In Adie's head, we fight a pirate, give some gold to a dragon turtle, everything's good. What we did was pay off the pirate, so then when the dragon turtle turned up, nothing to give him.
You even asked me after, you were like, we were supposed to give the treasure, weren't we? I was like, yeah, you were. You were like, alright.
Yeah. The dragon turtle sent us both to 0 HP. Etheria only stayed awake because I've got I can't remember what they call it. Some talent that brings you back to 1 HP. So that let me help Bjorn down to the cave. Yeah, we could have been.
Yeah, Bjorn got a demon plague. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
So your 2 session 0 was probably one of the best sessions. It was unbelievable. So that's mine. That's probably top of the list. It's session 0, and I'm a big fan of the rat beating itself to. Raya is another one. Like the whole clueless Raya. Like it's just talking to the dog and be like, "Dude, are you a dog?" Woof. Ah, yeah, he's a dog. Stuff like that is genius. What about you?
Following yours, I was going to say, Raya, I think, is up there as most of my favourite standout moments for kicking the bin.
Oh,
ducks in a line.
And just, the ducks.
You know how you like a dog with a bone, latch on to one thing we said.
It's the literalness that Raya's
got.
Yeah.
And it's gold. Every time you do it, it's just perfect. It's amazing.
It's ducks in a row, and if you say dog with a bone to Raya, Raya's going to be like, is there a man seeing someone about it?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. It's just so good. It's so
that
good.
money, everything. Money was brilliant. The way you handle money is amazing. Especially the meta funny on this lot's faces when you just hand over fucking the bedtime.
And the explicitness of, right, this one's for you, and I'm like, but I don't see the. No. You have to keep this one. Just this one. You can give away everything else, but this one you have to keep.
I love the fact that you latched onto both of those things. You can give away everything else, but keep this one.
Special.
Give it to us. Not anyone else. Just give it to us.
Well, I don't know. Capable did then hide us, so okay, we paid him an exorbitant amount to do so, but he seemed very happy.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, you made a friend.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
Raya's good at making friends. Everyone likes her because she keeps giving them money.
What about you, Fairs? You got a cool
I've
moment?
already given a few people money, okay?
Yeah, but it's a lot of money.
Cool moment for myself as a character was working out how to react when you gave me the everything turning into blood and standing in the middle of a square. I was like, okay, so what would I do here? Because previous characters might have cried or gotten really upset about the whole thing. FaZe wouldn't necessarily do that, so it's working out how to approach difficult situations with a personality that's so wildly different from my own. Okay. So those are my cool moments, is when you throw weird things at me where I have to go, okay. Not with that face, I promise.
Yes.
And
my favourite one is just seeing the seething resentment in Ree's face whenever Everdark is mentioned.
Oh yeah. For those that don't know, 24
Every
hours.
single time you
Ree's
just see her face
character's
drop.
father was Everdark, so she really wants to dig into that.
We'll get there eventually. Cool moments for other people though. Okay, it's not a character thing, but I really love Tony's inability to roll dice. It makes me laugh.
I mean,
I don't know how you do it. Yeah,
to get
Biggie's trying to
Tony
save your
up to
ass.
And Uli. Biggie and Uli.
Biggie and Uli.
Yeah,
Uli's pointing in overtime. Just
if it wasn't for Biggie and Uli, Etheria would be dead.
You two are saving my ass.
This is true.
Tony's worse than
this
me.
is true.
Tony's just awful. Oh yeah, Althea with the stone squirrels.
Let's grab a dice now.
Yes, definitely. Althea and the squirrels.
Squirrel.
Oh my god.
When she choked it, it absolutely ruined me. Absolutely ruined me. I want to grapple
I've got
it.
a squirrel.
You want to actually grapple it? Yeah, cool. Roll. Nat 20. 38 on an athletic. Yeah, this squirrel's in a shit state.
Freya, Freya, come look at this thing. Stop killing it. Let it go. No.
And the fact that it looked like rocks to you lot above. Or Bjorn falling off the cliff.
I wish I hadn't come and investigated what was going on. I should have just stayed up there.
No, because it was
I'm pretty
great.
Sure did I not
It was
DM
perfect.
re-roll you? I re-rolled you, didn't I? I made you re-roll.
Yeah.
Was it not the cliff I re-rolled you on? Yeah. Cheers, Tony.
I've just rolled.
Warrior, I think.
I've just rolled a 16, a 16, an 18, and 19.
So it's just when we're playing games, is it?
Right, now
looks
roll
like it.
initiative now, Theory.
Just save them.
17. What the fuck?
You can bank them.
You're almost as bad as me with my first ever character.
And then that 20.
Right.
I give up.
I don't think
I've
you
got
should
to
play D&D anymore.
I've got to pretend I'm not playing. I'm playing Monopoly.
You've just got to be a forever DM.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Nah.
really prefer playing. I like DMing. I
Who did
DM from it on,
99%
but
of people that play D&D.
What about the note taker? What about the narrator? I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure Velk
I was
or
about to
Eddie
ask
has some favourite moment.
Eduardo.
To be fair,
Yeah,
like
it's all of us. Ruining my game.
I don't word this politely. It's cool. It's got like so from my side of things, like the like you lot throwing yourselves into it really. Like a lot of people, like I mean, stereotypically, if somebody had been given 4 platinum coins, like they'd take those 4 platinum coins, or at least find a way to word it around that you take the 4 platinum coins or whatever. The fact, like little bits like that, or the phase getting like overwhelmingly like angry and frustrated with the when we're interacting with things, like the fact that you can't like it's or things that aren't going to go your way, but like you can almost feel your like emotion when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like so those little bits that really makes it like because you're acting like your characters rather than just going, oh my
character does this. My character says this.
Yeah. Like, or wording it rather than So that's pretty cool.
I think that's the nightmare that I had last week when you were talking about yourself, and I'm like, no, Raya doesn't read books. She would not say any of this. Hate.
And I'm not going to do it.
So yeah, it's like a culmination of stuff like that sort of stuff. Like there's more of it. It's more of the way you're throwing yourselves into it is my favourite part of it. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else before we move on?
I think most of them have been said.
Yeah.
Uh, the ducks from the entire duck session cracked me up. There's been so many parts of it that I've just had to mute and just go off laughing for a while.
I have found it highly amusing of you all essentially running around in circles for moments amongst yourselves, not around plot or there's an encounter over here or we could check this out. Like just yourselves running around on spot. like it's unreal.
One of my personal favourite moments was from last session. Not last session, the session before, sorry. Where we all had that sudden daunting realisation of, oh shit, Bjorn has been drinking the whole time.
Yeah,
I still think it was the meal that Baze tricked Bjorn into eating.
I mean, the meal that we all ate.
No, the one in the kitchen.
The one in the kitchen. That was absolutely brilliant. When you were like, the funniest bit of that for me was not how it all turned out, but you going in there, doing the save, realising that it's an horrific mess of like rodents and stuff, and your immediate thought, you turn around and went, Bjorn, come here. Like, it just ruined it. Because you didn't even bat an eyelid. You were like, oh, DM's meant to be doing a horrible save. This is horrible in here. Bjorn.
Get yourself in here, sunshine.
Yeah, again, that's the really difficult thing. It's trying to remember and going, okay, yes, I've just done this horrible role, but what is it that my character would do?
What's the thought?
And even if it sometimes is a little bit gross and sometimes detrimental, go, okay, well, it's like when with the writing desk, and Velk was like, oh, Freya believes that she should write a message. It's like,
As soon
I
as
can't write.
as soon as you two were left alone, I was like, this is the worst scenario ever. Like, because they're both going to walk away. Like, they're just going to literally say stuff and then go, turn around and walk away.
Where it's like, as me, I knew that, yes, the best course of action would be to go to the desk, write that message so we could find out what was happening immediately. But I'm just like, well, no. Because I want to try and stay as true to the character without causing too many.
I got another 3 really cool moments. One, your conversation with Gabriel Ray up on the cliff. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm not giving anyone's a name. Walked away with 3. The standing 20 feet away killed me. I was like, best Navy SEALs ever. Like, the special ops, like, you know, we're going to hide 20 feet away. I absolutely ruined me. And one of my very coolest moments was the fact that Etheria, out of etiquette, would not peeping Tom on Ikiku and Gabriel. Like, the fact that you were like, an absolute no. Like, it wasn't even a question of trying to find stuff out or glass against the wall. Etheria was just like, this is bad, this is wrong, I shouldn't be doing it. And then off you went. I mean, I set fire to a lot of plot. But it was cool. It was really cool.
What I don't know if it's a cool moment or if it's the most awkward thing I've ever done in my life, including in real life, because my awkward autism and social awkwardness, I think, came fully out in that moment when I first walked up to Capable.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Everybody followed me up like
in single file. Yeah, that was ridiculous. And it was the whole of them lot with you, and you turned around and were like, well, this shit.
And now they are.
And yeah, I had real awkward feelings, and I could not speak for some reason. And it was like, I don't even know what to say anymore. There's all these people stood behind me watching me.
It was
really
well. Question from Will. For AD, what started you on world building? Easy. King Arthur, Conan. Not liking playing games. I just like stories. My mum locked me in a room. Take it from that what you will. And then basically, mate, I just like talking shit. A lot. But yeah, I just love world building, mate. Same reason, you know, people get into lifting stuff or playing sports or reading certain books or playing certain games. It just ticks a box, and then I found it easy, so I did it more and more and more and more, and then I got mates involved like Eddie and Rich, Rob, like anyone that had listened really. LARP obviously helped because it meant I could test it face to face with people, and then D&D just lets me go, you know, beyond the physicalities of LARP. So I can't backflip in LARP, but I can backflip in Colossus multiple fucking times.
Etheria can't.
Etheria can't. No.
I dispute.
Roll an acrobatics check.
Roll an acrobatics check, Etheria. You've got to reroll.
I was going to say that, yeah. What was it?
Etheria can't. That's 6. +1, I think, but yeah.
Okay, that sounds correct, yes.
Yeah.
I need to roll before you ask me. I think that's it.
Can't roll before the DM asks you, that's definitely cheating.
Ollie's got another question. Does anyone have any trouble separating what you know from what your character knows?
Yeah.
No. Because I'm an idiot.
No, that's not the truth.
No, I'm not an idiot. People probably wouldn't believe me if I said I was quite smart, but I'm a goldfish. I don't remember most of the stuff I know until afterwards. In the moment, I brain fog moments, so I don't know what I know.
You don't know what you know. Yes.
Which is why when we did the 24-hour one-shot, I played Aranel, who was basically amnesia
clean
cliche.
sheet.
Yeah.
Clean slate. Ethereum may not be able to backflip, but they can climb a cliff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vinny.
It's interesting because I don't know that much about Colossus, but sometimes even just overhearing conversations that other characters are having out of your hearing range, and then having to act that you haven't heard that. So it's not necessarily just lore, it's not knowing other things that are happening in other rooms.
Sent away from the table.
Yeah.
It's very hard to go. So have you got out to tell us? Why would you ask that? No reason.
No reason.
I've got it in my notes. I've got like a section, and it's what Bjorn knows and what we as players know, and there's like a big separation between them. So if you need to ask Bjorn about his background, cool, it's that bit. And then there's just a little bit of storyline for myself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. I almost have to disassociate. That as soon as Rhea is not there, me myself, I have to disassociate, and so I only come back into the room when I hear the words Rhea or Hannah. Can you hurry up and do that role? And I'll go, oh yes, because I do find it really hard to not know things when I'm. It's really hard for me to know things when I'm not supposed to know them. Because I do wanna drop it in. I wanna be like, oh yeah, because blah blah blah. Not that I would know that, so we're gonna scrub that from every form of knowledge. So personally, as a player, I do find it incredible.
Okay.
So I'm not just being obtuse when I'm playing, and like being on my phone. It's that I have to, otherwise I'll ruin it for
yourself and others.
Myself and other people.
That makes sense.
Because there have been times where I've been like on my phone or doing something else on my computer, and it's like someone will be like, "Are you actually playing the game?" And I'm like, "No, sorry, yes, I am. I am here, but not because I don't want to mess it up."
That's cool. I would assume for like Bjorn, Rich, it's the the DM lifestyle. It's second nature to you, probably.
Yeah, because every NPC you come up with has to be completely different, have a completely different backstory,
and be unknowledgeable
about what happens, even in like the next tavern over or whatever. You have no idea what the conversation they've had or how they interacted with those people. Yes, okay, if they piss everyone off in a town, the next time they get to might have already heard of them. Not that I'm possibly thinking that's going to come up at any point. Or the what is it, the warlock and the what's the
warlock and the hammer
called? The warlock and the hammer. That's going to bite me in the ass at some point, I'm pretty sure.
Definitely.
But it is. I suppose as a DM, it is second nature because you have to close off each little character in your head from everyone else. Because there are so many characters living in my head who don't know anything about each other.
Mine are all Northern, so it's fine. It's easy for me. Same NPC.
That's the thing.
Different skins,
like,
mate.
That's what I love about UAD is that yes, they're all Northern, but they're all not the same person.
Oh yeah, they might all have a northern accent, but you know who's talking.
Absolutely.
Every time you speak as a different character, you can tell the difference.
Thespian, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
You've got a different,
know that word.
but there's a different
chips.
kind of what's the word? Is it cadence?
Cadence.
There's a different cadence. There's like a different rhythm to your speech. Each one of your NPCs is there's a very like slight change in you, and yes, they're northern, but this one might be a little bit posher. This one, like, a little bit more common. This one
Posh
sounds
northern?
like
Don't tell me grandma.
Posh.
Fucking hell. You're playing a Frenchie.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's
But
arrogant.
you can definitely tell that
It's
they're
like
different.
I did melt with Gabriel.
All right.
I was just like,
Oh, Gabriel was
Like,
smooth as fuck.
I've always liked
northern.
Gabriel.
Know that it's you, but it's also very much not you. It's a completely different person, and it's also the way that you have your descriptions of your character. They're very in depth and they're very specific in their descriptions, which completely sucks you in to knowing that is not the same person that you met down the road.
I was going to ask you about that one, AD, actually, with the different characters and
Let's
sorry.
Pin it though. That's good. I want to find out how Eddie handles bleed. Being Velk.
I was going to say, with this character, it's a little bit cheating, as it were. It's obviously
because you know everything.
I mean, it kind of harks back to that other question of like a little bit why I chose to be the character in the first place is by doing this character. Like, there's not so much of
bleed's almost
effective...
allowed.
Yeah. Like, there's obviously I know like about Colossus and all that sort of stuff. Having chipped in. So that's helped.
Still waiting for my Fury map.
That's true. So with this character, certainly that's kind of helped a lot. In terms of, so obviously we joke about like taking notes and all that sort of stuff, and I kind of do it with like a lot of the characters that I play. If I'm taking it, well, I will take notes. But I think Rich mentioned it where you have a separate area. So I tend to take notes on a document, and what I'll do is I'll just do it different colours if it's for other people. So like on the notes document I've got for Vote, for example, it's all just one colour because I know everything. But like if people are having conversations and stuff like that, like I'll colour it.
I have my colours pink.
It is.
So is mine. That's the problem.
But yeah, so like that's how I handle it. So I don't have to like flick to different sections. I can kind of just keep it in one different one document with different colours in it as I go down, and I can just kind of flip between them.
Okay, so you use logic.
Yeah. And then if I then know that bit of information, I just turn it to like black or whatever. Yeah. So.
That's very cool. Got a question from Chuckles. What was your introduction into this wonderful nerdy world? The first memory of what made you feel that this is the fictional world for me. These are my people. Tony followed that up with this game in particular, or D&D in general. And Chuckles has put D&D in general, or even just like the world around fantasy. When did you know that nerds were your thing, or fantasy was your thing, or is there a time? Or we'll go with Tony first, since you're nodding.
Yeah, when I was 5.
5?
Yeah. I was a little ahead of my time with reading. I don't know if it's autistic or what.
Yeah, definitely autistic.
Yeah, it is.
But my primary school used to take us over the road to the library on a certain day, and everybody was getting their books like Biff, Chip and Kipper and The Magic Key and Spot the Dog.
Biff taught me a lot, alright.
I came back with The Colour of Magic
and
cool. The Light Fantastic, and my school teacher turned around and said, "You can't take them, you need to put them back." I thought, why? So I was reading Terry Pratchett when I was 5. I didn't know what a concubine was, or I called it a harem. Obviously, it's a harem or whatever. So I didn't.
First time.
Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. So I had no idea what a concubine was, or a harem, or harem pants and all that stuff. But yeah, that's what put me into fantasy. And then I've been a computer gamer since I was tiny as well. I used to call an Atari a Ferrari because I couldn't speak.
Good read, though.
And then when I found RPGs with, I think, a Mega Drive was one of the first ones I played a proper RPG on. So that's when I got into all them, and then Final Fantasy came along, and I always liked the idea of tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, but didn't have people to play them with. So when I eventually did dive into them, it was just a natural expansion of me just being a nerd.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Ricardo? You were probably born rolling dice with midwife or something. Crying your little eyes out.
Well, everyone's seen that, like, you know, that stone D20 from Egyptian times, right? I carved that. If you believe Greg from my campaign, who believes that I am an ancient eldritch being.
I don't know what dice you're on about,
you
but
know?
I do believe you could be the Taliesin of the UK.
But no, I.
That's why the Eye of Ra's got that tear down here, mate. It's you.
I know. It's hard to believe, but I didn't have many friends in school. I was,
I'm not touching that.
No, didn't have any friends at all. I was literally hiding in a library from bullies one lunchtime. And this other nerdy kid who didn't have any friends was in the library, and he was reading Lord of the Rings.
Nerd.
And I asked him, what's that? So we started chatting about fantasy. And he gave me a book called Legend. There you go. There you go. And he said, right,
not be more stereotypical, like this the kid that they tell you about when you start doing it.
Yeah. And he's like, read that, and then if you want, come over to my house on Saturday. My older brother's home from college or home from uni, and his mate's going to run Dungeons and Dragons for us. And I was like, okay, never done this before, cool. Let's play some D&D.
So you've got no mates, someone gives you a book, invites you to their house to play a game you've never heard of.
He was very socially awkward, so I immediately clicked with him.
I mean, okay. All right.
You've met him. The first time we ever met, Jeremy, the guy standing next to me, the really awkward one.
Mate, you were both a little bit weird. Like...
I was hammered. He was stone cold sober. But no, and that was it. I've just been playing D&D since I was 15. They went back to uni. Everyone else was like, oh God, who's going to DM now? Everyone's kind of looking at me.
And that was the last time you ever played a character.
Pretty much, yeah. That was pretty much the last time I ever played properly. But I've DM'd since. And yeah.
What about you, Fizz? Well played, Rick.
Okay, so my relationship with D&D is a bit interesting, but fantasy I've loved since I was a kid. Again, I spent a lot of time in the library because all the school kids hated me because I liked books and I was a bit weird.
There's a running theme here.
All right, it's not a therapy session, kids.
No, I didn't. Well, anyway,
we got no followers tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
And then we'll get more for pity.
Yes, we need pity followers. Yeah, I was a bit odd. I liked books more than people, certainly when I was a kid. So I read a lot of fantasy books. I loved David Eddings. I loved all fantasy. And then I played World of Warcraft for absolutely years. Like, I lived my Tauren Druid. It was a long time of playing that. Sunk way too many hours into it.
I do like
D&D, though. Love Taurens. D&D, though, I was invited... Well, my first tabletop roleplay game was a White Wolf campaign. I can't remember what we were actually doing, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Hated everything about it. I was bored. It was rubbish. Did not enjoy it at all. And dropped it after the first session, and just whenever they were playing that, I went to do something else. So when Rich turned around to me...
Did you have an expectation that it'd be brilliant? Because you were nerdy? Oh, okay.
I was just hoping that I'd enjoy it, and I got there and it just wasn't it wasn't fun. Like,
you said it was very mechanical.
Very mechanical. It was very little
roleplay.
Just very little. Like, the characters didn't matter. It just felt a bit like...
Computer gaming.
Yeah, but I was like, well, I could be doing this at home.
Well, it's all Druid. Yeah.
I could do this with people I like. And so when Rich turned around to me and said...
different backstory.
I bet you have. Rich turned around to me and said, hey, do you want to play D&D? And I went, oh, look, I really don't like D&D. I don't really want to play tabletop roleplay games, but I can see you love it, so I'll give it a go. Fine. So Greg, Charlie and Em and a couple of other friends at the time as well came over, and we played the first session of D&D. And that was like 4 years ago now, so... And I'm still playing it. And I still love it.
It was the same session because of the mechanical thing. Greg had only ever played mechanical D&D up until that point, so he made a very mechanical Goliath barbarian. This is how my Goliath barbarian is going to work in a dungeon crawl. And Millie had experienced this before, and then we spent the entire first session just chatting as characters, and they were like, we've made a mistake. Right, I need to make a new character. Right, okay.
Rethink some stuff.
Embrace the mechanical barbarian before it too could be a great roleplay.
Yeah.
What about you, Han? How did you get into it? How did you know this was it? This is what you wanted to do more of?
So I was an incredibly late bloomer to the game. I was introduced to it through my workplace. AD or something like that. That's how we met.
Yeah, baby.
Biggest mistake of my life. Anyway.
I mean.
But started playing D&D because, it was a pop culture thing, and I was like, oh, okay, seems interesting. Never really thought much of it, but then I was like, oh wait, this is Lord of the Rings. I'm in control-ish. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. Let's see how it is. Because a couple of guys from work wanted to play it and asked me to join. I was like, look, I've never played. Probably could be shit because I never think highly of myself. But
I need a degree or something. I need to go.
become a therapist. Wait, you already are. This is my therapy.
I have a psychology degree.
Holy shit.
And started playing. I was like, okay, this is really cool. And then it's not until after all of that, and I started playing with different DMs, that I was like, oh no, okay, do you know what? This is pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a lot of fun.
Was that me?
For me, it was.
Yeah, it was you.
I loved how neutral you were. I loved how neutral. Well, I met some friends at work. I'm like, it's fucking me. Like, we played together.
I took you to Weatherspoons. We had dinner.
That was,
like,
was
well,
that
actually,
first
it was
day?
lunch.
That was our first day.
That was our first day. But yeah, so
You
then
killed my
from.
character.
Wait, no, I didn't.
You were responsible for our characters dying off that wall when we jumped off the wall when you were trying to heal
You
us.
didn't die.
Yeah, inside.
But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And again, it was very much all of a sudden then a change of DM then kind of changed how I felt about Dungeons and Dragons. We're not gonna. It's a nice channel. We're not gonna talk about those things. We can talk about it privately when we're not streaming, because we usually do. And we slate it. But yeah, so then I never left, and just kind of kept continuing. And then friends wanted to play it, and they were like, "Oh, since we've never played, can you be the DM?" Realised I don't like being DM. It's not my jam. But I'm now convincing my partner that he would be a very good DM, so that we can play it. But yeah, so I never left, and it was just really nice to be able to escape into a completely different world and either be a different character or be my truest self, which was just nice because life is hard. So let's not, and let's throw fake magic around and roll some dice and then resent them, and then be really happy about our lovely subscribers that sent us bits.
Yay!
I try not to resent my dice.
We resent your dice, Tony. Don't worry about it.
Only sometimes.
I have to change the challenge rating of encounters if you're in them. Like, I have to take some hit points off, lower the AC to 3. I basically lower the AC to your modifier, so even if you're nat 1, you'll still hit. What about you, Ed? Were you
That depressed lonely
locked
person.
under the stairs as a child?
No, not really.
Damn it!
Grew up on piss in a pub, white line, Scrumpy Jack.
Yeah, like I feel like I spent a lot of my life getting out and about, seeing people, mates, and all that sort of stuff. And like straight up, I didn't D&D till like, in fact, it was Sam Mercer who I played my first D&D session with. So I did LARP before I did D&D, which is not
when you were young, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
12
So
or 13 was it?
like 13 years old, being a kid who just like threw himself at everything.
So we met.
Like, yeah.
Tiny Eddie was more of a menace than this Eddie.
Sort of
Yeah, there then.
Burger Van, wasn't it? Like,
Oh, the Burger Man, yeah.
So I went to get this is a tangent of a story.
How do you know these were your people? This is how me and Eddie met.
Yeah. So I went to order some chips, and being like a 13-year-old kid throwing himself with the world, I was like, "Oh, chips, please." Eddie's like, "With gravy."
There we go.
Me being 13 was like, "Yeah."
I was dressed as a Minotaur at the time.
So yeah, I started LARPing when I was like 13. Like kind of threw myself into the fantasy world. Like I just loved doing stuff, like dancing around, like being quite energetic and whatever. So I got into the LARPing side of things. I was also, believe it or not, quite a heavy drinker.
At 13, so.
Yeah, not far off. So like I kind of like bounce between like a lot of different elements of my life. Like I'm probably not your, like it sounds weird, I'm not your stereotypical nerd, but I am your stereotypical nerd both at the same time. So
yeah, you are very nerdy.
Doing LARP, I'll throw myself into the fantasy side of things, but I'll also throw myself into like a lot of non-nerdy stuff, like I play sport, like rugby, all that sort of stuff. D&D wise, so I went to LARP, joined the Moravians, all that sort of stuff, and Sam, who's been in one of these chats recently, straight up was like kind of almost taking a piss out of me. I think must have been about 18, being like, you've never actually played D&D, which is normally people's like first step into the fantasy world before they go, I'll throw myself around the field. So I was like, never played it. He's like, right, come down to Southampton, and we'll do a session or whatever. So I think I played because I don't like I love for the LARP side of things. I was like, this is great. And then I had never really done it like pencils and paper and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, is this not just going to be a bit weird? Played I'm sure it was like a wizard that could cast fireballs out of a guitar or something like that. Like it was like a proper, like he'd pre-rolled a character or something like that with like loads of little minis and stuff. I was like, go on, and it'll see how it is. And then obviously, like I quite quickly cottoned on to the fact that it is just theatre of the mind, as it were, like that kind of cool word that we bat around, or phrase that we bat around all the time. So I was like, this is amazing. Like we can just do stuff. Like you just say.
There's no limit.
It's in your head, and I like we're all probably very, very imaginative folk. Comes with a fantasy aspect of things, and not even just with a northern twang. So played that, and then from there kind of rolled with it. Really, I think that must have been like Pathfinder or something like 3 or 3.5 type stuff, like around that bit. And then 5th Ed came out, and I was like, this is beyond easy. Like it just makes D&D like
fast. Makes it fast. You could be as pacey as you want.
And then obviously, like a lot of the time,
we kept trying, didn't we? We kept trying to get the campaign going.
Whether it be world building, like Colossus itself, or like just chatting about fantasy stuff, or chatting about LARP, like that side of things with AD's been like a massive part of it, really.
All right, calm down.
Like that's where it's at, really. That's where I'm like, this is like what I want to do, as it were. So
cool. I didn't do any of that until I was like 20 odd. I just ran around picking heavy stuff up, chasing different shaped balls, and that was it. Like I just love nerdy stuff, but never did it because I was too busy making this fantastic physique you see before you down at the local pie shop. But I knew I just see people. Whenever I bump into new people, I just see people, and if I can get a story out of them, then they're my people. That's how I know Chuckles. If you will share a story with me, whether it be you going to the post office to buy a stamp, or getting it on with a person of your particular flavour, or lifting something at a gym, or telling me that you went camping and dressed up as an elf, like anything, I'll listen to anything that is considered a passing of a story. And if you do that, you're my people. And that's literally how I got into it. But I was 23, 4 before I did LARP or D&D or all like that.
When your partner goes to bed at about 11 o'clock at night and says, I'll see you in bed, and you respond with, I'll be up in 10 now. I'm just going to say a couple of last words with AD, and I'll be up at 11:15. And then you start talking about
we didn't stay AM or PM.
Yes, you start talking about David Gemmell, or you start talking about D&D, or the latest new nerdy thing that's just happened in the little nerdy subculture that only we get the news about. No one else gets it. Only nerds know where to find this shit. It pops up. And suddenly it's 1:30 in the fucking morning. You're like, oh.
Yeah, and I come back down going, Richard, you've got work tomorrow. Yeah, it's bedtime. And he's like, oh yeah, I was just chatting to AD about, I'm coming.
I'll long let that go with. I'm off to bed now, and that's it. That's all she expects from that conversation.
that is when you know you found your people. At the end of these sessions, when you go, we're gonna finish off early tonight. We're gonna finish off really quickly because all of us are just gonna leave the call straight away because we've all got something else to do, somewhere to be. Stream ends an hour later. We're all still here.
That's him.
Yeah. I'm at work in 5 hours. Oh, but black belt.
If you give me an inch, I'll take a mile. Do you know what I mean? Right, let's get some more questions. Biggie, if any of you could bring one NPC to this campaign from any of your others, be it friendly, or from any other games you've been in. Alright, so if any of you could bring an NPC from any game you've run or played in, friendly, baddie, whatever, to this game, who would it be? So you can either have played along, with that NPC in your game, or when you were running a game. So we'll go with you, Etheria. What NPC could you bring, or would want to bring into this? Assuming you haven't already met them.
I'm not sure. I was very cruel, and in the game I run on from some of my friends, I love pop culture. I love gaming culture, and I throw everything at them. I've just had them fighting dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park Visitor Center.
That sounds...
Going to meet a necromancer because, well, he is.
Why not? Yeah.
He brought dinosaurs back to life. He's a necromancer. I had him run across a very powerful NPC in the middle of the woods, praying to the shrine of Jehovah or Genova. And
Jehovah's very different.
Yeah, none of them clicked who the guy stood there with the Zambato sword and long white hair was.
Oh,
but Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I made them fight Sephiroth. None of them clicked, and they started the fight. So I'd bring Sephiroth over.
No, that's cool.
I think he was a level.
I think he'd love it in Colossus.
Yeah, I think I started him at like level 20 or something, and they were only level 7 at the time. But he didn't want to fight; they wanted to fight.
Don't worry about that, Tony. That's all players like. Don't matter. It don't matter. They're gonna go. We can take this. We're adventurers. Yeah, but you've got a wooden spoon, and they're in plate armor with a great sword of death. Yeah, but I've got a wooden spoon.
I made him slap him about a bit, and then he got bored and left because, well, they'd never touch him. Jellysaurus, I sent the party. They were going to find the necromancer in the woods. They were accompanied by a wizard who likes fireworks, because that wizard who likes fireworks likes getting rid of necromancers in the woods. And when they got there, there was some giant gates, and they met a T-Rex.
Cool. Rich? You love, I assume.
You know mine.
I know. It might be the same as mine.
As an antagonist, not as a player character.
I know.
As a bad guy.
The Inquisitor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If he ever comes into Colossus, I will write in that he rules the world.
Because it would be terrible. Because as I've explained many times, this bad guy that I've made, who's not even the BBG, he works for the BBG. I hate playing it.
I just read your gravy comment, Tony. You dead to me.
I actually, when I'm playing the Inquisitor, it makes my skin crawl because he is so horrible and vile. But the reactions from chat, the reactions from the players, how invested they've become in hating this guy, is just it's music to my ears. So yeah, it's definitely the Inquisitor, just because of how creepy and awful he is.
Cool. I'm just going to jump in quickly. Sam, yes, we are doing a Q&A, and you were mentioned maybe 10 minutes ago. So, Eddie, any game you've played in or run NPC, whether they be a nice one or a bastard, would you bring over to us? They probably already exist in Colossus, but...
Tales of Wonder can't
Tales of
NPC, right? Because he'll get shit done.
By himself. That's the problem. I've got to run solo campaigns for you.
Said it just yourself with a questionnaire. It's got to be bastard, man. Like, it's been how many years now?
Oh, and, you were big Sam a bit after me.
One day.
Lord Bastard versus...
So, it must have been... It was from... I'm going to say...
It's Tony's name, Uli.
It must have been
Because it was longer than 5.
6-7 years ago now.
It's when we were playing once.
Yeah.
We were trying to play once every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and we ended up with 13 people at one point in my living room trying to play this one shot. We went late. Anyway, Big Sam and Eddie. It was Big Sam, Eddie, Pitbull, our lass. Was it just you four? Maybe one other. Because you were all family, weren't you? Like 3 brothers and a sister.
Like Viking
type
stuff on it. Yeah.
And they met Lord Bastardville II.
It was the pose on the door. So, like at Adie's house, like as he's describing this character, and he does this pose on the door like that.
I just saw lead,
like that. And we meet Bastardville for the first time in the first campaign we met him in. But like since then, I mean, some horrendous things happened.
Yeah,
but
it got a bit
rough. But since then, like me and Big Sam vowed that one day we will kill him, and then obviously like the campaign fell apart a little bit, etc. Because trying to do it with that many people was ridiculous. But Lord Bastardville has been in a couple of campaigns.
My favourite time he popped up. They had a choice to assassinate the Lord that was hosting a private party or rob the Lord. And they chose to rob. They didn't know who this Lord was. They spent all night. We did an all-nighter from like till 6 o'clock in the morning or something. And we were all just kind of like at the end of the game.
Me and Big Sam wouldn't drop it, would we?
Yeah. So you kept they're trying to rob the place. They get round this villa and this mansion and all this. And then who walks down the stairs? Lord Bastardville. Big Sam and Eddie were up off that sofa at 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to kill him. It was absolutely ridiculous.
We'll go again.
What about you, Fizz? Lord Bastardville.
Good timing. Okay. There's 2. One was going to be the Inquisitor, which Rich stole. The other one would have to be Altair because he makes me laugh. But I want him to bring his 2 automatons with him.
Okay.
It was the shopkeeper character that kept popping up in the first campaign we played, the home game that wasn't traveling merchant, but he was a Moravian through and through.
They enjoyed him so much that I had him as the owner of a chain of what did I call them? The Wayfarer's Rest. It was like a Weatherspoon's chain of pubs.
Something
there was one in every town, and he just so happened to have arrived there before they turned up every time.
That's brilliant.
He kept showing up, and he had these 2 automatons with him, and one of them was called, and I suddenly can't remember. Bilo, and which anyone who's been to LARP will understand. But he couldn't speak, but he made great pancakes, and he was just. He was
a massive warforged who'd been damaged, and all he could say was he was very much
Hodor.
Yarp guy from Hot
Fuzz.
He was very much him, so all he could say was hello, goodbye, yes and no. And every time they saw him, he'd be there kind of like making eggs for them in the morning.
Hi, Bilo.
They'd see him and he'd wave with the frying pan that still had eggs in it. So they'd see him just like dripping down as he was
love that guy.
frying pan.
I wanted to put him in a little box and keep him, you know? Like, I had a lot of
You got to keep him at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Altair left, and he left them to you because you would have been.
He left them to cake.
Yeah, you would have been broken-hearted if you hadn't.
Left them to cake.
What about you, Hannah?
I don't honestly think I have one.
Any from pop culture or other
If
games?
you think about this, I have not played enough.
What about the 24-hour NPC would you like to see in this campaign?
Akiku.
I can't remember the name for the life of me. But it would be Slatra's patron.
The Vulture? Oh, the new one? Artarian.
Yeah.
Artarian.
The first warlock of Artarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
At that point, that's all I care about.
So,
if it was to be anyone at that point, probably them, just to see what I could then find out about Slatra.
Yeah. No. So I like Artarian. I don't know why people don't like him. I love him. Them.
There was a little old lady in one of Eddie's games, and
Mrs. Cresnett.
Mrs. Cresnett. she was some sort of demon killing absolute badass. Like, we got attacked by her name, but she tipped up with a broom, like full on, like, get the fuck out of this. They were brilliant. Mrs. Cresnett. Yeah, the boss.
I might still have a down somewhere, actually.
Yeah, she was cool. The Inquisitor from Chronicles of Needham, I'd like in Colossus. I'd never let him die. Unbelievable. Such like he has the Thanos effect of is clearly like there is no he could be a good, like, he is a baddie, like, you know, he's the baddie, but you just gotta love him.
You love to hate him. That's the point.
Well, you know.
He wasn't going to be that big. They've changed.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
In their reaction to him, and what they've done has massively changed how big
cool.
he became in the story. And yeah, I hate playing him, but I love their reaction to him.
More questions. One from Tony. Minus story developments, do you have a future vision of where your characters are going? So, seeing as you asked it, Tony, you get to answer it first.
Oh, well. I didn't think of an answer for it. Well, I think I've already spoke to you at least about some of the things that I see for Etheria. She wants to be a blade master, pretty much. She wants. She's quite jealous of Bjorn. She wants to be able to control a blade like he does his axe. She wants a named sword. She wants her sword to be a sword of legend and to have its own name. She wants to reclaim the name that everyone's given her in jest and in bullying or whatever, and to make the Winter Rose. Yeah, thing. She wants to make that mean something else, and be worthy of respect.
That's pretty cool. What about
I think that's it.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I'll just make some notes. Beyond.
Our own character development. Do I have a vision of where my character is going?
Death.
Probably at this point
in the bin.
Probably with FaZe.
Yeah.
Regardless of character development, Bjorn has
the ASMR stuff ties you free quite. Like,
but Bjorn himself, not just because of the.
Yeah.
No, in fact, more now.
I just mean
yeah.
The dots joined nicely.
But it's more now because of what you've done with the story and the whole, like, two of us will very probably, if we pass on, get to go to the Divine Realm. But this one is broken. This one's not allowed. And now Bjorn has been told that. Obviously, he's all about, like, the cosmic justice and the scales being right and balanced, and that's why he follows Costo. And to be told that's not fair to him, and he's like, no. So until that's sorted, until, like, phases, I suppose afterlife is fixed, and FaZe is going to be okay, Bjorn probably isn't going to leave FaZe's side.
Okay. Well.
I mean, we've already touched on the big bad now. I mean, we have touched on some of the stuff. So I've got a couple more. I've got a few more personalities to bring out, as it were, to see how they impact the story, as it were. And all in all, a lot of what I'll do will be down to these guys, in a sense, to react to how they're doing things, but also progress the story. So yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll ask you that again next time, Mel.
Yeah.
All right, FaZe.
Yeah. So FaZe is interesting because it all depends. Her future all depends on. No.
She's going to be in her home with a straight jacket and padded walls.
Old woman in a shoe, mate.
Yeah.
No. FaZe's future very much depends on the outcome of what happens through the story, because obviously she fell because she couldn't protect people she cared about. Let's go with that.
We're getting deep.
I'm being careful.
Yeah.
she felt like she couldn't protect the kid she cared about. That's in the story. People have seen that. I don't really know how you fix that without playing it through the story. So maybe she will be saved from being fallen, or maybe it's something she'll have to learn to live with, and that will be how she is moving forward. And she'll have to make a life that way. So I can't say where Face is going because I don't know yet, but I'll let you know when I find out.
Okay. Rhea or Hannah?
Rhea will probably just keep going until either, she decides, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I'm done now. Go home. Or she'll just keep going, never go back, and maybe she might travel to other unseen folk like herself, and go, look, the world's really not that bad. Like, get over yourselves. As to which, who knows what will happen at that point with all of the unseemly fae roaming around.
There's at least one out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Might be dead.
I refuse to believe that they're dead. Nope. No.
Not having
No.
it. Rich, there's a question from Hannah. Let her know what skinny minis you want. Moving on. So, we got a question from Sam. Sorry if you've already been asked this. If so, I'll watch it on the replay. You better do. What question would you most like to find out about your own character in the current campaign? Eddie.
Is that from a perspective of
Something you don't know, I'm assuming?
No, from the character, what would they like to find out about themselves, or is that from the...
Well, the fact that he said find out about your own character, I would assume he's asking what Eddie would want to find out about Velk. Is how I read that.
At what point would he be done with this party? I think it was about 5 pages ago.
We've got a poll going, mate. I've got session 24. I got no adventurers lined up for you, mate. Don't worry about it.
To be fair, I think I would mind slightly more different. Like, I like to see how, as the story progresses, or as the campaign progresses, how this lot will respond to
Velk. Okay.
Velk. Yeah,
that's a good one. Fizz? What question would you like to find out about Fizz?
Ooh. What happened?
No, you are pretty memory lost at the minute. That's a cop out. I should have thought about
that. Face is very easy to answer that question for. I want to know what happened, what actually caused the events that caused her to lose her memory and half her body. I want the answers. So,
okay.
And also,
one of us could get legend lore and cast it on Phase.
I don't know if it would help me. I'd also quite like to know how long it's going to take before Phase punts Velk off a cliff.
I thought you two bonded in the last one.
We did. We got a bit of bonding done.
Rushing back to a cool moment. The moral dilemma was a cool moment for me.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was very much. Do we go for story or lammies? we can eat his cake and have his cake and eat it. So that was cool. That was cool.
It's also reminded me of one of the moments I found really cool, which was Velk and Fizz bonding, and the dissonance with Velk trying to explain that he's the narrator but couldn't quite grasp the concept of self.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
The one-on-one fight was pretty cool with a 10-year-old Death Knight where you were all ganged up, including chat. Literally 26 people, players and chat combined, trying to kick fuck out of a 10-year-old.
If I'd have clicked that he was some monster kid, I might have pulled out the magic and everything as well.
I think
I'll stick with my sword.
I think Sam, who's in the chat now, who asked this question, wasn't it? I think I messaged him going, watch this, because I obviously knew who it was, and I'm like, this isn't going to go well for them.
I was even saying stuff I was trying to be like, I'm really good. And then when he hit you and he was like, I've just attacked you once, I was trying to drop it, so I was like, he's got more, he's got more.
Just with the damage you were doing as well, I knew it was something a lot higher than just a 10-year-old kid. But if Harry's not going to pull out a Shadow Blade in a duel, in a friendly duel.
True. I mean, you were blade to blade. Next time. Fireball. But yeah, Gideon's abilities were the result of Tuesday. He was once upon a time just a 10-year-old boy. Okay.
I will get to it. I'm on number 11.
Raya. Raya. Hannah? What do you want to find out about Raya? That you obviously don't already know.
Guess what she's truly capable of. Because being with the clan that she was with, like even her being a druid is a bit questionable. And so it's like having only one person to look up to and, you know, encourage her druidic nature. I just want to see how far she can go and what.
Alright, that's pretty cool. Ricardo?
That it's Bjorn. The only question he cares about now.
No, the question Rich wants to know of Bjorn.
Oh, what I want to know about Bjorn.
Yeah.
Because you didn't tell me, and then, you know, basically shot down any question around this after a session. I want to know what Bjorn's axe, what the name of Bjorn's axe, what Takaisin means. Because you gave me this name, and I didn't think to ask at the time, and then when I asked, you went, nope.
Pull it now.
It's a Viconian word. Oh yeah, what does it mean then? Oh, you don't know. Oh, great. Okay, cool. So yeah, I want to know. I want to know what the axe is and what its connection to Costo's legend or story is.
I need to forget that now because I was going to ask you if your axe had a name.
It does.
I know you still have to ask.
Oh yeah.
I have also in character told you quite a few times.
Yeah, you have.
Goldfish Brim.
I think it's less told him it, but you've said it. As in you've gone, I summon thingy. I don't know how often you'll have turned and said, oh, my axe is gone.
I've also said
once.
it as well.
Definitely. Have you?
Yeah. Do you know when you were unconscious?
Yeah.
Well, knocked unconscious and I healed you. It was the Bjorn looked at the Kaisen and grabbed it.
Okay, so Bjorn doesn't care or know, but now I want to know why Velk knows
everything.
But Bjorn doesn't know, so now you get to practice
playing
that separation.
a dungeon master in Colossus. Ed is the DM. my character class is dungeon master. I just looked after a dungeon down the road.
Level 3.
We're getting inceptioned.
Tony?
Can I answer for both my characters?
Yeah.
Because there's still gaps with Aranel. It's probably my favourite character I've ever played. Epheria's getting close. For Etheria...
It was an intimate night.
For Etheria, I'm not really shocked. A lot of it it's been a lot more specific about her background than I was with Aranel. But I think I'd like to know the origins of their magic. And because the beginnings of that, which might get to in game sometime, is just a really nice piece of writing. It's really interesting. I loved it when you wrote that bit. So yeah, where that comes from, and if that has any wider implications down the line. For Aranel, I want to know how the hell she ended up in the material plane.
I know.
I want to know how she ended up in the material plane with no memory, who her family was, and then how the hell did she become queen?
Not queen yet. That's very important. Very important.
Right. Soon to be queen. Yep. Them two.
Cool. Okay. Got another question from Tony to Rich and Eddie. I can answer this one for you. Have you ever thought about bringing the hammer or Binky to Colossus? Or to a TTRPG? So I will answer on the behalf of Colossus. They'll die instantly. As soon as either of them take breath in Colossus, ash. Any other TTRPG, it's entirely up to them two. Because if there's two characters I've hated over my 20 years of LARP, it's the Hammer, who eventually died after a conversation with me, and Binky, because I hated him.
Oh, Eddie, me and you, we'll bring them both at the same time. We'll be unstoppable.
You can play them, the Chronicles will need them as much as you want.
I like that. Maybe one day.
The thing is, I did. So the hammer is Altair.
I know.
In a much more sober way of
Chance
playing
of
him.
living.
Much.
But he was
You don't need to
I'll
say
tell you.
much, you just need to say sober. Like,
Full hammer Moravian. Now, when we first went into the whole pepperoni, into the lockdown, I was asked
Pepperoni?
by some Moravians to run a weekly game for them as their LARP characters.
Yep.
I lasted.
They approached me first, or did you approach me? Someone asked me first. Was it you? Would you do it?
I asked you.
Yeah.
You gave the answer I should have.
Give more, Jim.
I lasted 6 weeks. I don't
Which was a
know.
good crack.
Yeah. Marcus originally said,
No
let's stream it. I went, I'll record it, and we'll see. Never been streamed, never going to be streamed. And yeah, so full hammer, no, could never. Like a private TTRPG, yes. On Twitch, no.
I'm pretty sure Tales of Wonder is Binky-esque.
Nah, I'd say like with Tales, I at least try and be a bit more like have some decorum and all that sort of stuff. I feel like it kind of like I say like I love
Chaos.
I was going to say like the deserty side of things and all that sort of stuff. So like,
That sort of culture's over there.
The camel trade, I absolutely love that kind of culture, like the whole like marketplaces and all that sort of stuff. So that aspect of like Binky and the trade and all that sort of stuff maybe, but I feel like for a tabletop game that much, like I feel like it would do.
I think it'd be a solo player, like Binky, it'd be surviving. So obviously Binky caused so much shit he'd have to survive. It'd be a good survival character. Right, moving on from them two, Wallace. Another question, this one to make Eddie feel good. Oh, cheers, Sam. I already do. Thank you, mate. What aspect of Colossus or the world building therein do you find most captivating? Eddie, you can't say the stuff that you did.
The other half of that.
The other half.
Am I starting? Is that?
Yeah, go for it.
Go.
Right, okay.
Abaddon, Fury.
I could list off Mrs. Crestnet.
Mrs. Creston. I love Mrs. Creston.
So, the world as a whole.
I'd have thought for you, like, I think that's quite broad for you because we've done a lot of nighttime waffling.
Yeah, like so it's weird because like I know.
I mean, we brought Robin to write
areas.
down our nighttime waffling.
Yeah. So there's almost like too
Rob's
much. It's too much for me to be like this little niche.
I'd
bit,
say
like,
just Colossus in general.
Yeah. And to like, if I was going to say my favourite part about it is those conversations.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like just
The
staying up till,
soundboarding,
like,
the actual building of it is the most captivating. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So
you got out that one easy. Fizz?
I missed the question, sorry.
What aspect of Colossus or the world building therein do you find most captivating?
How little I know about it. So I'm really interested in learning the world as I play through it. I've tried really hard not to read any of your world building stuff or
Thanks.
even catch any of your world building
Writers
streams.
love that. No one reads that stuff.
But I don't want to know
Okay, it
because
makes sense.
FaZe may not know.
Yeah.
So I've tried to stay away from everything and keep my knowledge
You want
similar
that
to hers.
explorative.
Yeah,
innocence,
I enjoy that. I enjoy wandering through your world and looking at it and going, God, Eddie's mind's weird. Or is this Eddie's? They're both weird.
I got a lot of weirdos around
Same
me
thing.
saying, "Yeah, write that, mate. Write that."
Exactly. So yeah, it's I want to explore.
Okay. Raya, Hannah.
Well, I kind of answered this question a little bit earlier. Of I find the most captivating of differences of characters, of being so different from each other. I know one NPC is similar to another. It's like the two guys that were drinking ale as we shouted something, and they were like, "Oh, okay, whatever," and then compare it to the different patrons that would be in any other tavern. Like, I don't see them as the same person. As that's what I find the most captivating of all, really, is the sheer differences between essentially what would be pretty much just the same character.
Good question, Sam. Well done. What about you, Tony?
I think almost generally.
I've pretty much got your Facebook post in a frame all over the ceiling of my bedroom for when Becky's not around.
Yeah, that one shot I do say quite a lot about it. It's one of the best things I've ever been part of. It was that engaging. I got to the end of it wondering why I can't fly.
Please don't
try.
Why
am I not a fairy?
Please don't try. I mean, we never said you weren't a fairy, Tony. Just that you can't fly. All right, know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a bit taller than 2 foot as well. I think it's slowly coming to the realization of how much it contains and how much is possible in it, which is one of the quite intimidating things I found coming straight to a sandbox, to a big sandbox. It's like, yeah, you can do anything. Like, but what do I do? And like when I said yesterday after I'd watched
the Kitsune,
yeah, it's like, oh, I could have been a Kitsune, I didn't, and it's like, it can be anything. It's like, shit, because I was still looking at the books.
What's in front of it, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I did take phases view and from it as not reading anything. I didn't want to know more. I wanted to learn it. Yeah. I started reading.
I can't even hear Tony.
What's it?
There you go. You went loud again.
I wonder if it's range. That's really weird because the PlayStation's of when it works.
It might be. I could hear you. You just went a bit quiet.
Yeah, but it is that it can include almost anything. And on your side of things, it's how you then take the weird stuff we create ourselves or do, and how they become integral parts of Colossus. Like how Aaron is suddenly a possible future queen and stuff. And that's just and that's just some little weirdo I made up for a 24-hour one shot.
Cool weirdo though.
She ended up being very cool. I really want to play her again. Yeah, I think it's all that and how much it all contains and brings into it, and how you tie all that together into the story that was going on, I guess.
Lovely. Thank you. Rich? Fucking hate it.
Oh, no, mate. No. Playing. But it's very much the same as what Amelia said. Because the story that I'm running Chronicles of Needham from has been a novel, a series of books that's been in my head since I was 15 years old. So I know this world back to front. I know the lives of every single NPC they could possibly meet. I know what every single decision is going to do to the rest of the world, let alone the town they're in at the time. Being in your world, not knowing anything about it, apart from the background of Viconia that you've given me, is amazing. It's wonderful to me. Not that you can do anything, but I'm captivated by what am I going to learn about Colossus next? Genuinely, what else is going to surprise you? What are we going to do? Are we going to stop at this rest stop? Is there going to be a weird tent full of silks next to a weird tent full of burnt bodies? Are there going to be 2 chests which could possibly be mimics, but one turns out to be a tunnel into an underground crazy gnome's lair?
He ain't crazy, you took his kids on an adventure.
Yeah. Right, he's also your dad? Like...
But I genuinely cannot wait to learn more about Colossus. That's what it is. It's going from knowing everything about a gaming world you possibly can into playing in one where I know nothing, and every moment so far is captivating because I get to learn. Just everything is new and brilliant. I love it.
Cool.
Thank you for letting me. Thank you for finally.
All right. You can stop now. You're welcome.
No. That was actually not me properly thanking you, because you told me a few years ago, hey, do you want to come to the channel? Don't worry, I'll run you a campaign one day. You get to play. Like 2 years later, hey, AD, any...
I got 3 nippers, all right?
All right, to be fair, Eddie's been waiting longer than I have, right?
But yeah, we tried many a times with
a lot.
Uli said if you ever do play the Hammer and Binky in a game that I'm not involved in, can he bring Uli?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all a technical.
We'll get Sam in as well and bring back like the older Marine.
That would be a hell of a game.
Speaking of Sam, he's got another question. because he just realised he loves this format. Nalene, you can come along to Colossus, but the other three, the bard.
It's the worst one. All of it's his fault.
Yeah. What area or point of interest of Colossus would you most like to explore further? Tengavalu, Edward.
As he said it, I was like, yeah. So yeah, Tengavalu, the kind of deep, dark jungle that.
And the reason being, for me, I don't know about for Eddie. So Tengavalu for me is the one thing that me and Eddie agreed on, and anyone else we dragged in to write smaller parts, larger parts, whatever of Colossus was, also were told you're not allowed to write for Tengavalu. So that way, nobody knows what's in Tengavalu. So whenever you hear NPCs talking about it in the world and they're like, oh, this, that, and ever, they're like, oh, you don't. It's legit. Because even the gods don't know what's in Tengavalu.
Yeah. Like the kind of that build up in the late night conversations and all that sort of stuff when we've mentioned it.
It was
like
always just sat there.
Yeah.
You know when Simba and Mufasa are looking at you, like, what's that down bit over there? Ooh, don't go there.
Can't wait for Tengavalu just to be a void.
Yeah.
It's a really happy place, actually.
Imagine tipping up when we've decided, this is where all the, it's Charlie and the chocolate factory going off over there.
Yep. It's just one bar. One bar with a really good bar.
One bar. Yeah. Did Eddie write this? Yeah.
Yeah. 5 minutes took him 5 minutes. Brilliant. Yeah, what about you, Fizz?
Every time she's having a drink.
I know. I've drunk a lot of Coca-Cola tonight and I'm very hyper.
There are other brands out there. Just so people are aware.
Pepsi. Cherry Pepsi.
No, it was what they had in Aldi. Leave me alone. I want to go to Ravenholm. I want to go and see where I'm supposedly from and hear it described and see it. I mean, obviously, I could watch Fables and probably learn quite a lot about Ravenholm, but I'm deliberately not. So I want to go and see it for myself.
You were in an episode of Fables where you were in Ravenholm.
I'm aware. I have forgotten everything that was said. As a Warforged.
Yeah.
It was Garina.
Yeah. So you just stepped half away from the war. So yeah, there's still so much stuff in Ravenholm that obviously the Tuesday lot have got a world to save. So but yeah, they touched on a lot of it, and they still didn't manage to. I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of stuff going on in Ravenholm. So yeah, I'd like to see more of Ravenholm. Hannah? And
I think at some point for FaZe's story, if Everdark is as involved as I think in FaZe's story, we may have to go there to solve the mystery.
I'm just saying they may be linked. The campaigns might cross the wires. Who knows? This crazy fantasy world.
Makes sense to me.
Go on, Hannah. What area of Colossus would you like to explore?
I would really like to visit Raiders Clan, because essentially their place is unnamed because they don't exist.
There is
theoretically.
No all the Unseelie Fae are gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bjorn
so
will sit that one out. He doesn't want to go to any Unseelie Dark Fae places ever again. So you guys can go on a holiday. Bjorn will stay in a tavern.
But it's on the material plane. You're fine.
To be fair, you only went to the birthplace of the Unseelie Fae. You know what I mean?
You only went there. It's fine.
I only went to the creepy primordial version, not the fully developed, evolved version that is now. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I'd really like to go there because it's like even her clan doesn't have a name for it. It's just home. Like that is where they live, and I would really like to visit that and develop it more and see if any of the players so what do we call this place? Because we can't call it home because it's not our home. So I think that would be interesting, and especially for then the rest of the players to be like, oh, there are quite a few of you. This is a little bit weird. And God forbid what Velka's going to do with that information as well.
I'll send you some stuff, Ed.
So I think that would be
smile
interesting.
Smile away, boy.
because you
definitely the penguins.
You did have to essentially just create something for Raya, because you were like, this isn't much of a thing. Do we need to flesh this a little bit? So I would
do
like
do
to
a lot
see...
of fleshy stuff. I'm just putting it out
Yes.
there. Take from that what you will.
So I would like to develop on that chunk of flesh.
So many would. Rich?
Same as everyone else. I think I want to take everyone home to
all the bits that you're all from, but never got to explore because it was just
never got to actually play it. Like, you know, if Althea's answer can't be this because we're actively exploring her homeland right now.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I want to take everyone home to Viconia. I'm genuinely not that worried about my sister. Because I think, you know, trainee paladin, she kicks ass, she can be fine. But I want to take everyone home to Viconia, just show them off. Hey, look, Mum and Dad, I did make friends. See, look.
Aww. Wait, is this Bry or is this?
This is Bjorn.
Wow.
Oh, it's Bjorn. Okay.
Sorry, 5 friends. Oh, 4 friends and 1 acquaintance.
That was also a cool moment.
Yeah. Oh.
That was hard. Reacting as Rich on camera to the acquaintance thing, like, what the fuck? What the fuck would you?
I don't even know where it came from. It just slipped out. And I was like,
and then as soon as obviously Raya comes back, it was like, "Hi, friend. How's it going?"
friend.
That was hard.
Okay.
But no, I want to take everyone home to Viconia, but I would also really like to explore Ravenholm more.
Tony.
It's getting a bit of a cliche now, because I would love to see home.
Fine.
But it's not that I want to see...
Campaign 2, kids. Campaign 2.
Yeah. I don't
We're
think it's
making
that
it
I
out
want
live.
to see Vi as a place as such, but I'm really interested in the conflicts in Vi. Like the clans versus their
The demons and
it's
such.
like the demons and the and things like that, and things and all that stuff. But it's always going to tie back into my other character as well. I'd love to see more of the Unseelie realm. The only bit I've seen of it in any character, because she wasn't there, but was the bit that Brian did in Beyond, and that was dark and scary as hell. I'd like to see a more whole view of the Unseelie realm and the people that live there and things like that, because I think that entire thing is interesting.
Okay. Were you going to say something else, Ed?
Let's say, why did nobody say Volk's homeland?
I don't know where he's from. Where he's not from.
Told you?
I probably did, but I'm a goldfish.
Oh, yeah.
We're not the note takers here.
So, Volk's written notes down about what he told you.
Yeah, I can't remember where Velk's from.
Volk is from the capital of adventurers. From where Colossus started, really.
It's,
Yeah. Just a little town in the middle of a shitstorm.
Belk's
me
an
wants to go
ignorant
back.
themselves, so I just want to know more about Belk. I don't care about the hometown at this point.
I'd like to go back and meet that dragon turtle again as well. When I'm level 20 or something.
you gotta fuck it up.
Yeah.
me and Beyond.
Character goals. We don't care what badass is coming out of what realm. I don't care who's taking over the fuck vector. We're going to kill the dragon.
Oh, here's your
I'll-
money, bitch.
I will help
Yeah.
you. I will help you with the dragon turtle, but we are finding that
That
pirate
pirate.
captain. It is only 10 gold, but it is my 10 gold.
Just slapping back. 10 gold.
Chest of gold.
Here's
blowing
a
it
chest.
all
No,
on.
the 10. My 10.
Yeah, casting legend lore in each piece.
Blowing
Oh,
loads of
that's
gold.
not right.
You might find some of them are Tabitha's.
Yeah,
Thousands
yo-
upon thousands on supreme healing potions.
I forgot about her.
I'll chuck Tabitha's in the ocean.
superior,
couldn't care
superior,
less.
wasn't
I mean, good luck.
Yeah, your mouth from Goonies. This is my 10 gold.
Yeah.
My 10 gold. These are my dreams.
Right. A question from Tony. Do you think a campaign crossover is a possibility? I don't think it's a possibility. I think it's factual.
Good man.
I want to fight Delphin, just saying.
There is not a cat in hell's chance that you lot won't bump into each other because of all the stuff that's going on.
Right.
So if we sleep
That
for
is
5
very cool.
days, I'll catch up then.
How do you know it's 5 days? You might miss what they're doing. Another one from Tony. Also, considering sandbox, anything can happen. Do you bin much writing, or does it go in a drawer just in case it can be recycled? Story writing never gets binned. Mechanics for a fight that I kind of like, I can reskin if you didn't fight the thing that was on the right. I don't bin my story writing because it happens regardless of what you do, in the sense of if someone's getting mugged down an alley and you don't stop it, they get mugged down an alley. If a dragon turns up like a dragon turtle and, you know, handshakes a pirate king. So story-wise, I don't really bin, or at least like, what's the word, directional writing, I don't bin, because stuff will happen around you. Like Akiku and Gabriel were still in that villa, still having a good time, still discussing their plans. You just don't get to hear it because you walked away from that particular thing. So, but mechanic stuff, I generally recycle. If I've come up with what I think's a cool mechanic for a fight, and you don't take the fight, you go elsewhere, then next time I'll be like, I really want to see that mechanic happen. So I generally recycle. I rarely, I cannot remember the last time I binned off something.
So you're not a DM that gets the sheet and goes, see that?
No, and if I do, it's probably empty just for
afterwards.
comedic. Yeah, no, this is shit. Is anyone looking?
Yeah.
Well, it's a sandbox, right? So as you said, it's still happening. That
Yeah.
thing over there that you chose to ignore is still going on, and it might still have consequences
All it
for you
means for
because
me-
you chose to ignore it.
Exactly that. All it means for me is I have to write the next bit differently because you didn't interact with it, or didn't stop it, or didn't encourage it, etc.
But you don't. Yeah, you don't bin anything. Every choice the character the players make, just evolves the story in a different way. So you ignoring that thing or focusing on something else over something,
And I won't fudge the story.
Yeah.
That's why
it
I
just
don't bin it.
means that it changes.
If I've got in my head, I want him to meet this NPC, it's going to be brilliant, they're going to love him, and he's got all this information, or whoever's got all this information, and I'm like, they're going to get attacked, and then the party can come in and save them, and they'll talk to him, oh, thank you for saving my life, here's all this story, and you go, look at that knobber getting stabbed. Anyway, over here. I'll be like, cool, they got stabbed. Like, you know, so... And I have a thing, I think I've said it before, I have a thing called story dice. So if there's certain things going on, like a fight that I've set up between NPC on NPC or whatever, I'll roll the outcomes, I'll roll... Because I like to be just as surprised as you lot are.
Yeah.
Like, my biggest example is in the Chooser campaign, a couple of sessions ago, Owlbearer, the brother of Wolfbearer, died. And fuck me, I was ruined. Rolling my little story dice while I writing it, and I'm like, oh no! And I had some stuff in there that would have saved him, but it was pure just like what happened from the players and what had, you know. So I try not to bin anything. I try and keep because if the story's cool for me, or if I'm enjoying it and you're enjoying it, then it's
Oh yeah. So you say your story dice, and does that go as wide open as
army on army.
Yeah, so like nation v nation, like
Yeah,
the Copper Forest versus Ravenholm.
So the Civil
so I'm
War
getting into
stuff
that
was
bit.
rolled.
Yeah.
The Copper Forest against the Ravenholm was rolled. The Wall, you know, all sorts of stuff is rolled. Gideon, I don't know if you've met him. I know you're listening, but you'll get to see.
I've
Gideon's.
not. I'm on. They've just met the Lancelot for the second time.
Okay,
I'm
so
on
yeah.
episode
So
11.
when you meet Gideon, there's a fight, and you'll obviously he's dead in your story, but you'll see why. That's story dice and stuff. But again, it's not a 100% outcome. It's I roll story dice. This will happen if
if
players
it's not,
don't do this or do
interactive.
this or exactly.
Yeah.
So I quite like it because again, it just means the story's new to me as well.
Yeah.
You
cool.
had a question earlier, Rich, about characters, was it, or NPCs? We were talking about. Were we talking about me doing different tones to voices?
Yes. Your descriptions, you like. I love watching other DMs do it anyway. Just how they describe different scenes and everything. But I was going to ask you, particularly, every time a new character comes in, you give a very detailed description. And I can almost, because I'm watching you now, specifically when you do this, and I kind of watch you sit differently, or you'll move your shoulders, you kind of hold yourself differently as you're making this description. Is that how I'm wondering whether that's how you get into character. Your description as you kind of give birth to them into the world or whatever, that's how you take on that different cadence, that rhythm. Because every time you do it, you suddenly slip very easily into their voice, and it seems like they're very different from the other ones.
I'm a people DM, not a scenery DM, so I would struggle to... You'll find that most of the taverns you walk into, I'll say, you walk into a tavern, and then I describe the people in it. Because in my head, I'm like, it's a tavern. Okay.
Everyone knows what a tavern looks like.
Yeah, this one's L-shaped, this one's square-shaped. Cool. Do you know what I mean? The only time I'd go into scenery description is if I needed you to be able to look down, so therefore there's no ceiling, you're on an indoor balcony type thing. I'd have to describe that. But when it comes...
like when you were on Tuesday, when you had them all on the wall and you were describing what they could see off the wall. And, yeah.
Exactly. So otherwise it's just a casual, everyone knows what a house looks like. I don't need to say, oh, you're going to 3 houses and repeat the description of it's got a bed, it's got a table. Do you know what I mean? So I struggle with stuff like that. But people, because in reality I'm a people person, so I pick up on the way that exactly what you just said. And Eddie said earlier about Lord Baskerville, like Eddie and Big Sam know before I've said anything. If I position myself in the doorway when I'm about to be, they don't even need me to go, and you see.
I think you did at one point. You just did that. Yeah. We were like, yeah.
Fuck everything we've been doing, kill him. We've never met him before. We want
that one dies.
But yeah, so it is not always on purpose. But I notice I do it and then repeat it, if that makes sense. So some will be, I will make a deliberate attempt to be a certain way to portray the character, and others I'll have done it by accident, probably because in my head I've gone, I want somebody to be like this person I used to go to the gym with, and I'll start acting like them, and then I'll realise, oh, I'm acting like them. And then that's how they... So sometimes it's deliberate and sometimes it's by accident. But once I pick it up, which I generally do pretty quick, it's because it's a people thing. Then yeah, I do tend to do that to getting in character, as it were.
Is the narcissist bad from the gym?
That's me.
That's Gabriel is the true AD. Is the AD that none of us have met the Gabriel AD yet.
So I played my first 2 characters, one in D&D, one in LARP. The one in D&D was a Frost Barbarian. Yeah. I was very true to myself in that game. But I finished it as a Drow Paladin of Love because it upped my stats. Yeah. You'd have been proud of me, Ed. Picked up a magic book. It was like, blah, blah. Dave gave me this big description. I was like, is this the stats on my sheet go up? And he was like, yeah, you'd be better at this, and again. And I was like, yeah, do it, yeah.
Sold.
Boom. And my first character in LARP was a drow. Because the people we went with were a drow house, and that was their thing. And, well, technically, I tell a lie, my first character was a barbarian from the north to see what that was like, and then they said you had to play a drow for the next one. So it was essentially the same journey. Both barbarians, both bardic, both narcissists. Fun fact, my swimming teacher when I was at primary school used to call me Narcy.
Is it Ectelio?
Ectelio. Are you on about Ectelio?
Oh,
right. Ectelio, not Gabrielle, yeah.
Yeah, so no, Ectelio is a complete creation of my own that I fucking love. And I cannot wait for you lot to get the thing. Oh. I
love Ectelio. I hate people like that in real life. Well, I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone. I'm not that extreme, but I love him in the game. But yeah, I love him in character. As soon as he started looking at himself and everything else, I love him. It's just great.
Ectelio is, I like Ectelio. I'm proud of what I've done. Uli, Eddie, fuck's sake. So far in the campaign, what is the biggest curveball the players threw at you?
Ooh.
Yes, I want to know.
character creation.
Let's not ask it.
Turn it up.
I don't want to ask Eddie this question because Eddie's just to be like, they're all dumb.
I hate them all.
Is it Althea? Is it the Echo Knight?
No, Echo Knight's Echo Knight's perfect because we got so much Echo stuff going on in Colossus because we had to create Echo stuff for AJ's original character, but then AJ had to leave the game as Sean entered using the Echo stuff to enter the game, so I ended up creating it anyway. So the Echo Knight stuff's brilliant, and it gives me a way to do Althea's Echo stuff differently to what it would be done in some famous world called Tal'Dorei. But
yeah, it's really cool stuff, and having the Echoes makes it really cool bits of drag tiny bits of lore in the time.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it means Ree's got something more than just a replica of herself running around. She's got a reason to go, why are they different?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I quite like the Echo stuff. Curveball, I would say thus far, you haven't thrown a curveball.
Not even when I turned into a horse and made you vomit me out.
I mean, that was pretty good.
That's less of a curveball and more just the stuff in a fight. Like
yeah, that's nice combat stuff.
Yeah, there'll be tons of those fights where you'll do stuff that will just work because, why wouldn't it? But yeah, as for not yet. I wouldn't say you've thrown any curveballs yet. Because you're kind of going for the stuff I put in front of you rather than not, if you know what I mean. Like, so far, it's 19 sessions in, but it's unintentionally linear at the minute. Like, you're chasing those things in front of you. Because you've got, obviously, FaZe who's very... I can see the answers just in front of me. It's like, I'm going to go get them. Valk's just going to narrate, so he's going to be there. Raya's not ambitious enough to want to find something that's distracting from FaZe's mission, so we'll plod along giving money away. Bjorn will die for his mates. Etheria is following acquaintances. Etheria is kind of following the code of protect the warriors, like that sort of clan. Like, you guys are your mini clan at the minute. And Althea's in Atoria wanting to kick ass and take names. So at the minute it's kind of easy. There's no curveballs as of yet, but a very good question. Ask me in another 20 sections.
It also probably helps that in 19 sessions we've gone about this far.
Yeah. Chuckles. As DMs, how do you feel about players making decisions within your established world that possibly have huge effects on the world that the players may not realise? Is that something you cherish as a challenge? I will just go back to what I said about story dice and writing stuff, and I only Dungeon Master so players can change my world. That's the only reason I do it. I wouldn't DM otherwise. I couldn't run mechanical games. I'd be a terrible dungeon crawl DM because I just wouldn't be committed to it. I only do this so those players can make those decisions to fuck my world up as much as they possibly can. Rest of you have DM. Rich, as the DM, how do you feel about players making decisions within your established world that possibly have huge effects on the world that the players may not realise? Do you cherish it as a challenge?
I hate it, and I want them to leave my table, but unfortunately they appear to be my best friends and have agreed to be my best man, or best person, at my wedding.
They appear to
and they're really nice to me, so I have to keep them around. But no, I love it. I absolutely love it. And you get that thing where it is a shock, and everyone does ask you, "Oh God, has it changed everything? You've got so much more work to do now," and they're asking you like it's a bad thing. It's like, no, I've got so much more work to do now because they've done something that changes everything. Like in our campaign, Needham right now, where Greg's character broke that crystal heart, which, in my mind, I'd planned for about 30 sessions in the future, them finding out what it was and actively going back to do that thing. And they did it on a whim, with the only spell available to them at the time that would have done it without killing them. And it was like, well, yeah. And and you've changed the entire world. And then there were like 5 sessions afterwards of them finding out how much the world had changed because of one small, tiny little thing that they'd done. And it was then that's the other side of it. Because yes, they've done this massive thing that's changed the world, and they're all cheering and patting themselves on the back, and then they spend 5 sessions going, "Oh shit," as they realise what I've written as a response to what they've done.
That's pretty cool.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. For any players, it is the best thing in the world for a player to throw a curveball like that at a DM, to make you think on your feet as well, because it's a collaborative story, right? You don't just want the players to play in a story you've written. You may as well just write a book and play on your own. They have to affect what's going on. Otherwise, you are just railroading, and you're just showing people a computer game, right? And I understand there are dungeon masters that you have met who have done this.
Yeah, Hannah.
We've all experienced DMs like that, but it's a collaborative story. It's not players against DM. It's you're telling a story together. If all of the players, if none of their actions change anything in the world you're playing in, they're basically just watching as you tell a story.
True.
And that's my favourite bit, is when players do something that changes everything. Amelia. What did you do? Every single time I put a really challenging encounter in front of you, you use like a low-level support spell, which completely derails and stops the entire like deadly encounter after round 1.
Right, see, Eddie, it's only this character that's stupid. It's not all my characters.
Her other character has literally with a support. She used heat metal to end an encounter with a monster that was
Metal.
I don't know. Yeah,
but she used an evil sword.
She used heat metal.
So you dropped it.
I mean,
ended the encounter then and there. Heat metal, a useless spell in combat.
Sounds like a weak DM to me.
So I'm just going to quickly take heat metal.
More questions. I know you're a DM, Eddie, but we're moving on.
Probably not going to be the best answer. Railroad everyone.
You're here for what I've written. Don't be going off on it.
I'd probably add like one little point.
Go on,
go.
Before your internet goes off.
I don't know why it hasn't got out, to be fair.
Don't ask them, just go.
You invite the people that you want to play in your world anyway, like typically, unless it's just like a random, I mean, but even if it's just random players, you've invited them.
Yeah.
Specifically knowing that they're random players, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just that guy. Like, so if you're running a campaign or whatever, you found those people to play in your world and change your world, so you should know those people are going to do stuff like, and the types of people they are, and like how they're going to interact with things, and or you at least learn it, and like you can tailor that as a decent DM. You can turn around and take what their energy is or whatever and shape it into little bits as well. So it's equally like they're impacting your world, but you're impacting them. So like it's not railroading. It's just you're giving them the options, as it were.
On that, I've got 2 sides of that. So you lot were tailored, whereas Tuesday's lot were random, or started out random. Like they were brought in to play with AJ. Shit happened. I got to know them through that. But then the party, like I never knew Sean, Jeannie, or anything, like it was all word of mouth and stuff. So seeing you lot, I know you lot are going to change my world for exactly what you just said. But with my Tuesday lot, they now know, because we've obviously been playing for so long. But at the time, I was actively more aware of the decisions they were making to try and learn them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd say that's bang on, like the tailored thing.
Was the 24-hour one more like that?
Yeah, because I've never played with Tony. I knew Hannah had it in her to have like cool adventures with, because we tried 2 or 3 times when we were playing to like get going and stuff, but obviously shit happened. And I knew from the first adventure we had where Hannah was like, I'm a rogue, I'm going to leave the party, I'm going to walk into a tavern and kick off with 30 bandits. I was like, yeah, we can use Hannah. It went as I expected. But yeah, so Whereas
Did we die though? No.
my only experience of Amelia, there's a sentence I never thought to say, is the 24-hour, the first one we ever did, where we had 17 microphones on the same table and we only needed one.
We didn't know, man.
Yeah, but getting to see Amelia and working with her on a background and stuff, and obviously I've known Rich for years, so I knew, knowing DMing and stuff like. So you lot, I knew.
Yeah, I was the only one he was worried about.
But the 24-hour with yourself, Ree I'd never played with, you had never played with Tony, Hannah I'd only just got to play with, Rob I'd never played with, I'd only been a player in his thing, so I didn't know how he'd play. Am I missing someone? Is this for you?
Lauren. I might have named wrong. I'm terrible with names.
Was there a fifth?
Yes. Jeremy
Which
the Dad.
campaign?
Oh, Lauren.
Lauren.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. She's going to kill me for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was you lot again, because it was 24 hours. I had to be aware of what you were going to try and do, not do, because I didn't know what any of you would do. I kind of had a feeling. I honestly thought Hannah would be more button pushy, more button pushy, but she didn't. She was more standoffish until we threw her background at her. But yeah,
I was trying to be reserved. That and I'd had 4 hours sleep, so.
cool. I got another question for you all from Sam. What do you enjoy about other players? You got to answer these fast now, kids. What do you enjoy about the other players' personal style of roleplay? What part of their specific way they roleplay do you appreciate? Eddie.
Oh, okay.
Eddie first.
We go around a circle, or we just set so.
Oh.
One of the, I'd go with, if I had to pick one.
Amelia, your
I'd say Rich with Bjorn, because I'd heard about how you DM'd and how you were. You could snap into the characters with your voices and things
He
like
did. I told him.
Yeah.
You lot saw neutral.
Heard it was good. Yeah. So
He's lying. I never
that,
said a
and
positive word about you.
actually experiencing it is decent. Yeah.
Okay. Amelia?
Thanks, mate.
Shut, don't cry.
Put yourself together. Right. Very quickly from the top. I love Etherea's naivety and that she does weird things. I love Bjorn's sense of humour about absolute disasters that happen to him, and that he just sort of gets on with it and laughs it off, and I think Rich plays that really well. I love everything Hannah does with Rhea, because I just think she's hilarious, and that bluntness is amazing. And I absolutely adore Velk, because I think it's a really challenging character to play, and I think that Eddie does an amazing job with it.
Oh. Hannah?
You went around the circle. I was just like, Rich.
I know.
I didn't know what we were doing. You said
All of them,
quicker. You
Eddie's
said
like,
quicker.
Rich, rest of them.
I love Etherea's prim and proper against Bjorn's fuck it, we'll see sort of thing. I love FaZe's aggressiveness of
It's cold.
no,
It's cold
we've got to sort this out. I love Velk's aloofness, yet not aloofness. It's so specific, but still oh, maybe, And I love Althea's I'm sick of the shit already.
Althea, very quickly.
I knew you were going to do that.
She wasn't here. I love her. I particularly love that moment that she played off where she had that sort of explosion in the town centre and everyone came together to fix it. A, it was a cool moment, and B, I just thought that replayed it super, super well and sort of really kept in character for the whole thing, and it was very well done.
I love that she died through the portal after the little guy.
Yeah, that was fantastic. What a character moment.
It could be that. Anyway,
Yeah, literally level 2, straight out of adventure school. You know what I mean? There's an assassin on a fake fucking royalty. You know what I mean? I'll follow him. Rich?
Okay. I love Etherea's, or how you, Tony, play Etherea's, the sense of honour. And you've chosen these people now and you will do anything to protect them. Obviously, save my life, bros. In session 0.
Bullshit. They've totally misread.
Yeah. In the same kind of vein, I very much appreciate and love FaZe's cold sense of, cold fury towards those who would harm hers. And like, you know, there's definitely that sense that the lengths phase will go to protect us now that we've become friends, kind of thing. And Bjorn, all right, appreciate that. I love it. Rhea is just this wonderful ray of sunshine. But it's brilliant because obviously,
of the faith.
yeah, but Bjorn especially, I think, loves it because Bjorn does look at everything and it's like, oh well, you know, like shit happens, let's get on with it. And Rhea is also, maybe because of their naivety about the world, the same. So it's kind of like, yeah, cool, let's crack on. Yeah, and so I think there's a sense of kinship there. Velk.
Kinship.
Velk, I think, I just love how very useful Velk is, because Bjorn knows his limitations. He knows he's not a planner.
Does it?
He knows he's not a planner. Velk, however, makes Bjorn seem like a planner, because Bjorn has a lot of good thoughts when Velk is around. And not so much a character thing, but I really love the way Ree plays Althea like a teenager, very much trying to prove themselves. They get that whole youthful naivety, who's also a kick-ass fighter, but a constant sense that they need to put a stamp on their place in the
ego
world.
of youth.
Yeah, exactly. They're very, very eager to carve out a name for themselves, and I think Ree puts that across really, really well. I think she does it wonderful.
Tony?
You better watch this spot.
I think I
You were
love
bastarded. You were bastarded.
Rhea and Bjorn for two sides of a different kind of naivety. Because Bjorn seems really naive about the world and stuff like that, like he's discovering a lot of things for the first time, but he's also very
Wise.
on his vengeance and stuff. Whereas Rhea is the naivety of everything being so new, and your comedic timing is absolutely ridiculous.
What if I told you that's not Rhea?
I know. I've been crying laughing at some of the stuff. Mute. Oh, possibly not mute sometimes. But also the mystery that surrounds, well, both of them really. Velk, I love the mystery around him and the narrator almost being a 9-5 job. Like, I think for quite a few sessions, the only person who spoke directly to was me. It's like, is it just me? Am I special? But it seems like the narrator is a 9-to-5 job, and at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it's like the me. I can never remember his name, but I love the other one as well.
Rich.
Sketch. Sketch. And how distinctly different he was now in the face and a proper Cockney road.
That was a lot more ready than Belfast, I'll tell you that.
I can't imagine meeting him in London in a pub. And there's, I think it's the emotional intensity, especially on the march up to the villa, when things were starting to be set just in front of it, and I'm going there no matter what, and trying to play a fight to try and stop him, because that's not a good idea just yet. And then the come down from that, and almost depression afterwards, I guess. And Rhea's the more trying to put things in a more straightforward blocking way. We need to do this, we need to get on and do this, we need to find this out, we need to search this, we need to do that, and trying to put that against us not being, we need to burn the place down. Yeah, I think that's it.
A favourite moment.
Sorry. And the squirrels.
Yeah. Favourite standout moments that I got reminded of when Eddie was when you were talking about Eddie, Tony. Sorry, with Velk. Every time you clock off. Every time Velk clocks off, being a narrator,
long resting,
and then just starts chatting to us.
The first time that ever happened, all of us just went, "What? What is going on?"
Just starts making a bro. You all right?
It's you said about the snapping in and out of voices. It's the absolute change in you, because you've done so well as Velk, and it's maybe a bit stilted because you have to work out how to narrate in a way that you're telling a story, and then suddenly you're just talking to us normally. There's no pause in conversation. It just flows more naturally. We're like, who's this now? What's going on? Is this
He's possessed.
It's brilliant. I love it. I love Velk. I do miss Sketch though. I do. Genuinely.
Who's to say that they won't be back?
Who's to... I think beyond spending loads of time trying to bargain with a spoon vendor must have been a marginal curveball. Before I even answered that, Tony, Eddie totally baited him. I can neither confirm nor deny.
You knew it was going down.
A fucking frog there, and Bjorn
Do you
would
have
have
a
walked on.
question?
It's saved in
about
his
that
docs as Bjorn encounter.
Do you have a question about the encounter? Was there a point to it? Because I know that we're probably never going to go back there. It was like a little...
There's a point to everything.
There's more to it if you explored it.
Okay.
That's what you're asking.
Some of us have already given you the point.
That Velk. And again, you see how quickly we just went, that's Velk. Yeah.
Beyond's adopted 2 kids from that.
I have had a lot of fun with what Bjorn has done. Talking to Mr. Gnome. So, but yeah.
Oh no.
Also, question: does the light spell work differently in Colossus?
No.
So it doesn't affect creatures.
You don't know.
Well, no, I do. I've been able to cast the light spell since I was born. I'm an Asima.
Yeah, so you cast it on the chest to see if they were creatures, yeah? And it didn't light up, yeah? Cool.
So what you're thinking is the stereotypical side of things, where you cast it on a creature and it doesn't work, right? But there is other magics involved in the world that can make things happen.
Okay.
Is there a teacher side of Velk? Is like a professor going to come out?
Hopefully
reading my other tunes.
So my roleplay of you lot is Faze's coldness, Rhea's hippiness, Bjorn the fact that he's both Gandalf and Merry wrapped into one character.
Yes.
The simplicity that I know of Velk, but the complexity that you lot interact with it with.
Okay.
And I love Etheria's wiggle in the kimono.
I mean, damn.
I like that Etheria's not got a bastard clue what's going on in her life, despite probably waking up in the morning with a bit of a to-do list of look after the sword, I'm on my walk, like stuff should happen, but doesn't have an absolute clue. And Althea, I just like the fact that Ree probably sits there sometimes going, this is a stupid idea, and then Althea goes, we should kill it. The bad guys are in there. Like,
kill them all.
There's a reason Ree's got like 7 backup characters, because she knows.
Out for blood, doesn't even matter if it's ours.
And now we know that Eddie only loves Bjorn and the rest of us suck. You know, we're devastated on the inside. I'm crying.
I don't even want to go back round and finish that.
Just leaving it there like that.
The other one I was going to mention was Remy, so...
I love Remy. I miss Remy.
I love Remy. I miss Remy a lot. Remy was great.
I love Rhea. I love Rhea interacting with Remy. So it's more like a brother, and we're like, nah, you two are getting it on. But no, it's brother. It's not like that.
I didn't expect there to be anything to it, but
no,
you can't be serious all the time or any of the time.
No.
So.
And the more someone pushes back, you just gotta push it a little more.
Yeah, you just gotta keep prodding, right?
I love, because of you lot, Leonidas.
I don't.
Yes.
We made it good.
Where did Eddie and Velk get the inspiration? Velk can't really answer that. Where did Eddie get the inspiration for Sketch?
Velk can.
Can he?
It's Bjorn's mate.
Bjorn's mate. Fucking iconic.
Jesus Christ.
Where did I get inspiration for it? So, I mean, the goblin side of things, obviously, like from an LT perspective, playing a Cockney goblin, but I do it. So to be fair, the other characters I've got planned out are the story pushes in a sense, and I'll use them to push bits that I think they'll be useful for. But the sketch side of things came in at the right point. So there's an element of like I just came up with the characters I've come up with are like vastly different personalities and things like that that will fit. But the point in which I used sketch there was it's kind of gone off the tangent a little bit, but it seemed like the relevant bit to push to start off the story. Like everybody's getting to know each other, so you kind of need a bit more of an aggressive, punchy kind of person to drive it a bit more while people are still finding their feet. So I went, what's a good punchy, like, give us the story kind
avatar that you can use.
Yeah. So that is a little bit of bouncing that around my head of going, I'm just going to be a Cockney goblin and be aggressive at things until the story develops, as it were.
I quite like that Sketch wasn't all knowing about how to be an aggressive goblin. Like, it's almost like sometimes he'd look for confirmation off the party of like waving a dagger in someone's face. Like, you go, yeah, do it. And then you kind of look around to be like, am I doing this right? Like that those little moments with Sketch.
Yeah. Did Eddie text you and say, can you speed these up?
I've got a lot of faith in him. It may be misplaced, but...
I know exactly what I mean.
Can you just railroad these few a bit?
I don't know.
Is there a central, true character to Velk? Is it Velk? I personally would say, find out throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
It's Eddie's question.
You'll see.
You'll
see.
Yeah.
I
don't. Yeah, I don't think I actually want the answer to that, but it is one of the things I wonder. Is Velk like the character, and is these offshoots like skin?
It'd be exciting for me to see.
Yeah.
Cheers,
or is Velk going to be one of them offshoots, and there's something else in the
All
middle?
you need to know is your bard is a changeling.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we still don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually want an answer to that, but that is one aspect of Velk I find really interesting, is that Velk could just be another sketch.
Yeah.
It could be someone else in the middle, or there could be not a middle.
It's actually me. So I'm Velk, and Eddie's my avatars.
Technically, we don't. I mean, we might know he's a changeling, but we also could consider a bard with disguise self.
Disguise self, yep.
At will.
Eddie's changed himself. Like, Velk has changed his features. He hasn't, but as in, Eddie described it, that his skin changed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did he do it in...
in the last session.
As I was describing that
the little
boy would be on your side.
Also, he turned himself into a kid.
I know there was a little boy, but I couldn't remember if you did that.
He described his
fully
actual,
change, but as I was speaking, elements of it started appearing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exciting times.
Well, unless I've missed them, there's no more questions in chat.
I think that's them.
That's it.
I think you managed to catch them all the ones in chat anyway.
Cool. Do any of you five have questions that you'd like to ask now? Do you want more? Go for it, Sam.
Are we level 6 after this?
After that, not with your rolls.
I got some nat 20s in there.
Yeah, but you also died on an acrobatics check. So. Go for it, Sam. Whilst we're waiting for the delay of Sam's question, do you five have any questions you'd like to ask now?
Not any that would be appropriate.
None that are going to get answered.
Cool.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I probably have 2 billion questions, but they're all stuff I want to find out as my characters.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the main issue. A lot of the questions I'd have for any of them are better asked in character, in a quiet moment.
Do you find it difficult jumping between the campaigns? Like, you've always got the Tuesday one, which is quite long running now. You've got each of the 24 hours. You've got us Saturday, and you've obviously got the other one shot in a couple of weeks.
Carbon's easy. It takes care of itself.
Yeah.
I deliberately had the Monday, Tuesday near each other to make it easier, because it means that the stuff that's happened and happening, and same with yourselves. If I slip up, it don't matter, because you'd find out from rumours in a tavern, or you know what I mean. So I deliberately wanted your campaign alongside it ish, so I can have the opportunity to cross you over and mix those player bases and stuff. And the stories, how they intertwine and stuff. So that's done made easier by that. It's still obviously a bit of a thing because they're level 11, I think, and you guys are 5.
5.
Yeah.
It's right on the screen in front of me. Could be out though. I never change the overlay. So it is. That's all right. The 24 hours. Yours was a standalone adventure, i.e., regarding getting the vessel from the Tatharin Sasha, which obviously affected the Tuesday lot.
Did you treat that like a big version of your adventure dice?
Yes. So you were the outcome of, instead of me rolling dice, I run a 24-hour one shot.
Yeah.
And that's what those 24-hour one shots are. Is instead of me writing it and rolling it and seeing what happens, when it comes down to the time of year where we're going to run a 24-hour, then I'll run that so you lot determine the outcome. It's like if you learn a story about something in Colossus about this mighty dragonborn that wields an axe of doom, but nobody knows how he got the axe of doom. It just said that he killed 14 dragons bare-handed, bare-chested, covered in honey. You know what I mean? Like,
was that Eddie?
Yeah, it was definitely Eddie. I carried the axe for him though because he's got little twiggy arms. But yeah, whereas you guys can run that 24-hour one shot and actually determine the real myth, about how that dragonborn got the axe and got the honey chest attacked by a dire wasp. But stuff like that. So yes, those are very much a big version, a substitute for the story dice.
Yeah.
So difficult sounds like. No, I don't find it difficult. It can be frustrating at times trying to make sure I think it's enjoyable. But I do it so much now. But it was difficult when I first started doing all this shit. But
yeah,
because I can well build for days, but I like running games and stuff is not my forte. So trying to keep it all together. But yeah, less so now.
I had a question more for you guys as well. So, and a little bit to tell the chat, but your characters and things like that. Do you find yourselves thinking about them during the week and thinking about the next sessions, etc.? Because obviously I know you're all active in the Discord and I completely ignore it. But
no, me and you are the same.
Nice. I wouldn't even know because I don't look
active on a Monday.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. But do you think about your characters and how you're going to interact, etc. As you're going through the week?
I think it depends session to session.
Fair.
It's like if the session has ended at a nice point where you don't really have to think about anything. It's like, oh yeah, you will just go to sleep tonight, we're all good. Then no. But if there's session ends mid big question, a little bit yes. Because I know that it's just going to save us a lot more time come the actual session.
Fair.
So, I was just going to say, not quite so much for this campaign yet, because I'm still learning the character, so I don't always know what she'd think about things. It's a bit more moment to moment. But certainly in the Chronicles of Needham campaign, as the best allegory I have, I had an argument once with another player, and I wrote the points I wanted to make in an argument about 6 times that week, and I kept going over that argument in my head and how I thought it was going to go and the points I wanted to make, and ended up nearly crying on stream. And it was the one where people were messaging are they okay together? Are they still getting along, or is this a player thing? Because my character was so freaking angry about this moment that I played on my mind all week. Oh yeah, we were fully screaming at each other on stream, and afterwards we were like, I love you so much. But yeah, that played on my mind.
I have on D&D Beyond right now 20 versions of Beyond Velkin from level 1 to 20 planned out. Every time we level up, if I change something, I look at the next level, the decisions I made, and then think, actually I'll do this instead, and then I'll change all the other ones. I am constantly thinking about where Beyond's going to go.
We're very similar in the planning for the character.
But there's a question coming up that's related to that.
I'll leave it.
Very much so. I think I am my character.
Nice.
I actually, for the last session from the long rest, I have written an entire thing that I was possibly going to say that, but that's it. I've written an entire thing of points I might bring up if I had a long rest with certain people. Things I want to remember that I guess we've notes on what a fairy would be thinking, maybe not necessarily say. And I am constantly thinking about where I want them to go. Like I was saying earlier, stuff. I read so much fantasy shit. Like Brandon Sanderson is one of my favourite writers, and I love the Stormlight Archive with the big swords that come from nowhere, and they've all got their own names and stuff like that.
Everyone likes a big sword.
So, and I like pulling all that stuff, but at the same time as I'm thinking all this stuff and I want to go a certain way, I'm completely driven by story as well. So if maybe for us something that means I can't go that way, yeah, it's all good. And I don't have all the different versions of Feria that you two might have, but I do have different versions of every single thing written down.
Eddie's probably got versions of all of you, to be fair. Like spreadsheets for days.
Bjorn thinks that at this level he should actually take this Eldritch invocation.
I know where I'm going up to a certain level, and then I've got different deviations that I'm thinking I might go. And none of them are set in stone. It's all going to be down to what we do, what
we're going to hit as a party.
I reckon Ree's answer would be similar, because she already speaks about Barbarian and Paladin, and she nudges me about stuff and that. So I reckon Ree does think quite a lot about Althea.
Yeah, and just one very last thing. Sorry, part of it is driven by what AD allows within his homebrewing as well.
Everything.
Like because I was considering some things based on me wanting particular skills, rather than just saying to Eddie, I really want this to be a part of my character. Like certain things that a warlock might have, but I don't want to be a warlock.
I will allow as much flexibility without taking the piss.
Yeah.
Is my way of, and that's not a finite statement. Like you could, one thing I might allow for you, I wouldn't allow for Eddie, or Rich might do something that
I guess like just a quick example of that side of things, like Changeling in the rules, they're medium creatures. Like I'm a gnome. Like is it where like
so we just straight up agreed that he's a small changeling.
Yeah. Right. So I just put the I edited on that D&D Beyond whatever the speed.
Like
so I took the negatives of it, like side of things. But that flexibility is really cool. Side things,
question from Sam. I'm going to breeze past this one, mate. My answer I'm not going to ask the players, but what other systems have you enjoyed playing, would consider playing, see strengths in other than D&D? I'm going to say Pathfinder second edition. It's an absolute brilliant system. It's super mechanical, but if your DM and your party are into mechanics, you can make the mechanics very story rich. And I'm moving on from that. They can answer it another time. Stay on board.
World of Darkness.
Oh, well, yeah, World of Darkness. Question for all players: how do you balance wanting high stats and fancy items? They can't, right? Scroll back a couple of sessions. How do you balance wanting high stats and fancy items versus wanting roleplay? I.e., would you ever take an ability from a level up specifically for roleplay reasons with no intention of using the ability in game? That's pretty much. I think you just pretty much said that, Tony. Like, depending on where the story goes, would determine your things.
Oh yeah, there's things on my sheet that I've still never used. I took some elemental cantrips because I thought it'd be cool, and it might be something I'd be trained in, and by because I like lost them and I watched it as well. So like, what shape and shit.
Me and Eddie talk about this, not a lot, but it comes up most of our nerdy conversations. Is I think they are one and the same. I think not the problem, but the frustration with some people is they only do one or the other. And you get a few players that are here to min-max and be the greatest character on paper they can be, or some people ignore their character sheet and just try to play the story. But me and Eddie are big fans of why can't you do both? Why can't you min-max and be an incredible participant in the story? Do you know what I mean? So what, you level up and take this because it gives you a fuck ton of D6 damage. That's great. You're trying to tell the story of the greatest bard, war cleric, moon druid, Viconian Hexblade, Shadow Sorcerer from Vey, Echo Knight of Atori. Do you know what I mean? Like
You can add the
you
character
should be very powerful characters. Sometimes if I not force but encourage strongly changes to your character through story, it's because I am aware that I could min-max that I've bolted onto your character. For example, Mel is a rogue bard because I know what rogue bards can do if they're combined with other stuff. Kess is a fighter sorcerer. I also know what can be done with them. Stuff like this. And the sorcerer and the bard part of their characters was encouraged through their interactions with the Tathrin. So I personally would always look to make my character very powerful, but I'm still there for my character. It's me personally.
I'm very similar. I look for ways that I can power up my character but still keep it within story.
Yeah.
So it's, for instance, Rhea is incredibly weak, but who's to say that something doesn't happen where she goes, I need to get swole. I really need to get swole, so then come to her next level up, she then, takes, something to do with strength to then make it more of a leveled out character rather than having, all of these negatives on numbers.
You're not weak as a bear, though.
I'm not weak as a bear.
I'm a bear.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And at level 20, you're not going to be weak as an ancient dragon with all of the respective
is
abilities.
Also very true.
Yep.
But
It won't be a dragon. It'll be a giant duck.
yes, it can't be a dragon because there are no dragons in Colossus. So
You're learning.
it will be giant ducks.
I read a story yesterday, and there was 3 dragons in it.
Yeah, but what the fuck ought to do with Colossus? Actually, I know what you mean.
It was cool as hell.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
If people haven't seen that, by the way, you should go on my Facebook and my Twitter and look at the story that me and Dominic, my 10-year-old, put together. Like, we bullet pointed it, he drew pictures for it. Every paragraph I asked him questions about what we were doing with the story, where it would go in. It's fucking ace, and it's now part of Colossus canon.
It is cool as fuck, and that did make me want to go back to my homeland and see more of the Pharos and Samos.
Cool.
My other homeland.
Yeah, for me, I personally try and figure out a way to make everything really powerful while still keeping it within roleplay, so that it actually makes sense, not just all of a sudden, whoa, Freya can lift this boulder, not as a bear.
That makes sense. Amelia? Oh. I'm
going.
going up the screen. So Amelia?
I don't know where I am.
You're at the top, baby. You're at the top.
That never happens. You normally come in last.
Whee!
No, normally he comes first.
Sexual athlete. So, Fizz.
Alright.
I have taken a level in something else purely for character reasons. I then turned it to my advantage and made it into, a powerful thing. Obviously, I considered both sides of things before I did it, because it doesn't. There's always a way to turn something. If your character would do it for their progression, then clearly it makes sense in some way. So you need to make it work for you as a player as well.
Okay. Eduardo?
Yeah, very similar on the very similar. So I was going to give maybe some examples of that side of things. For those of you who Tails, for example, like I min-max the shit out of Tails.
He's an absolute monster.
But I will put the story persona across, and there's still ways. I think it comes in with the high stat side of things as well. It also comes into the way you play the game, because so for example, Tails will be very arrogant and suave and sophisticated about things and min-max to shit and all that. But if it's the way you're interacting with things, you can always kind of tweak what you're doing with the persona you're putting across to get the best outcome as well. So like it's little things in like a fight, trying to find ways to get advantage or things like that. You can still do stuff, or in a situation, word around things that gets across what your character is, while still keeping the stats and interacting with people. So like Tails, as opposed to, I mean, none of you probably know, but like Malzeth, I played there.
Malzeth is the my favourite Eddie character is Malzeth.
so a wizard character from the desert lands, as it were, like
Tiefling.
Like ages ago, like in one of the first campaigns we started trying to do. Again,
also in Cruel.
Also in Cruel, min-max to shit. But the persona, etc. Everything I'm doing, I'm still doing the correct thing, interacting in the world the correct way. But I'll put the persona across as I'm doing it. And just it's that wording of how you get it across. So I'll be a softer, like more mellow character, but still doing the correct thing with the right stats, min-max, etc.
Cool. Another one from Sam. We're going to breeze through, Sam, because we're going to knock off in like 5 or 10 minutes, mate. And you're going off script, lad. You're just asking generic. Keep it on point, mate. If you don't know enough about, this campaign, go watch the other 17 sessions, you lazy shit.
Or listen to them on Spotify.
Yeah. Would you rather? So, first one. Do you guys prefer 100% fantasy, or are there other genres, sci-fi, realism, etc., that you would like to play in, DM in, or write a story for in any form? I personally am 99.9% fantasy, swords and sorcery all the way. Other genres, cyberpunk, sci-fi, realism, like World of Darkness stuff, all that. I don't mind. If my mates are playing it, I'll have a play. I probably wouldn't commit to a 5-year campaign in it. DM in it, only fantasy. I tell a lie. DM if the system's simple. I can't do like Pathfinder. I have to step back and really concentrate on anything. I could play any genre 5e because I know the system well enough. Write a story for. I will challenge myself to write a story in any genre going. But if they were forced to make a choice, it would be swords and sorcery. Rest of you? Quickly. Eddie? Quickly answer that one.
Played in a few, mainly fantasy. One thing I want to play, like that I haven't done before, is the vampire stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fizz?
Mostly fantasy, some sci-fi, never realism. There's enough of that in real life. I don't need that in my games.
I mean, there's enough reality in reality. I like it.
Yeah, there is.
Anna?
Yeah, fantasy is my go-to because it's an escapism. Maybe a little bit of sci-fi here and there, again, depending on mechanics of it, how easy it is to play.
Yeah, true that. Ricardo, you pretty much play out, crying out, whatever.
I've run pretty much everything. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, like World of Darkness and stuff. For me, as long as it's got a heavy roleplay element to go along with the gaming mechanics, like the traps, the fighting, whatever. As long as it's got a heavy roleplay element, I'll run it, and I'm happy to. And I can tell a story like that. Sci-fi and fantasy mixed together is probably going to be my favourite. Watch this space come August when Spelljammer gets released, and I get to run the Spelljammer adventure for a brand new party on this channel.
I volunteer as tribute.
Wait.
Eighty's
already said I can take Wednesdays for a couple of weeks and run the level 5 to 8 adventure for Spelljammer.
All right, you don't need witnesses. Calm yourself.
That's amazing.
Can't wait. I really can't wait. I'm so happy.
Go on, Tony.
I'm looking forward to spell. Game-wise, mostly fantasy. I've loved fantasy since I was a tiny one, like I mentioned earlier. But I love everything nerdy and pop culture-wise, from superheroes to sci-fi to fantasy to everything. So yeah, I'll have a go at anything amazing.
Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized dragons or 1 dragon-sized duck? Eddie?
1 dragon-sized duck.
Amelia?
On dragon-sized duck, epic fight, I'm in.
Hannah?
In my current state of being, 10 tiny dragons. Squish them.
10 tiny dragons. 10 duck-sized dragons.
Yeah.
Beyond?
10 duck-sized dragons. They can't possibly have that many hit points.
Welcome in Colossus. Etheria?
It says fight, but they tend to duck-sized dragons because I want to keep one.
It's not how fighting works, but...
There's animal handling in there. I'll probably roll shit, but...
Real life?
I got 19.
I'd want 10 duck-sized dragons, so...
Yeah.
I'm more the merrier.
Like them.
Biggie, there's no dragons in Colossus, so it would have to be a duck. Well played, sir. Well played. Facebook, Twitter, we got any more? Spelljammer's awesome. Right, cool. Cool, thanks for the extended answer, guys. Loved it tonight. You're welcome, Sam. You're welcome. Right, unless any of you 5 have got a random question to go, I'm going to wrap up.
No,
yeah, just not for a really long one. No, you're good.
Is it Rich's?
It's fine.
Oh, question. You're about question. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in. That's right. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Thank you for the questions. Players, thank you for the questions. I'm glad you're all still enjoying it. We all love Gnomish Space Marines. I would run a Gnomish Space Marine game.
I would love that.
Yeah, take care of yourselves. It's been great. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are about tomorrow, we're running another Q&A for the Tuesday party. They've just finished a massive plot arc, a massive plot arc. So they're going to do a Q&A and go through all their good stuff of what's happened recently and stuff like that. So if you want to find out more about that, please tune in and ask them their questions. Sam, if you're about, you can ask more random ass questions. Do you like cheese in your roleplay games? But yes, thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. It's been great. I mean, we've had like 15 plus viewers all the way through it asking questions, so that's super cool that you're still tuned in to watch the Q&A. So thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, well said, Chuckles. Great Q&A. So great to see the passion behind your characters and love of all things nerdy. Very, very, very
Thanks,
true.
Stu.
So, right, for now, say good night, players.
Good night, players.
Even though we're not players tonight.
We're always
You're
players.
always a player.
We're always
Oh,
players. Oh, we
sorry.
had one. See you later, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.